issues bill larger than denominations such as 100 is where we top out now. Is that right?
Yep.
$500, $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000 bills at one point.
And boy, that would suck to drop a $10,000 bill, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But there's always that one guy when we're settling. I mean, we play for nothing on the golf course, but there's always that one guy that's got 100. Hey, I owe Jim 6. You have change for 100? I was like, hell no. If I had change for 100, we'd be playing more than 50 cents a hole.
I'll get you next time, man. I promise I'll get you next time.
But we'd have one guy to be like, hey, I know I owe $8, but can you break this $1,000 bill?
Do you think, like, McKinley is on the $500 bill? I bet he thought that was a big deal. Like, I'm on the $500 bill, and now you never said this to him.
Cleveland, he's on the $1,000 bill.
Yeah.
But here's what I don't get. Back then, you could buy a lot of shit for $100. Why did you need $500 or $1,000?
That was
now
like to buy a house.
You can't get a lot for $100. Like the $500 or the $1,000 bill would make a lot more sense now if people are using,
I guess
legal tender,
this
which
still would have been tied to the gold standard, and still would have been like a almost like a promise to give you X amount of gold.
Yeah. By the way, highest denomination of U.S. currency ever was the $10,000 bill. And who do you think the picture was on there?
Well, I'm looking
Donald
at it right
Trump.
now. You could guess the rest of the day and you wouldn't get this one.
Oh, then I will go.
I'm going to go with Taft.
You are incorrect.
Garfield.
You are incorrect.
Yeah, you would need to go with somebody who basically would have the attitude of the Hurleys. If I'm the $10,000 bill and I'm the Secretary of Treasury, I think I'll put my picture on there.
That's right. Salmon P. Chase. Or Salmon, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Chase Bank, I assume, is his namesake
I
there.
assume that's the Chase Bank comes from him.
Yeah,
now.
they did well in life.
Yeah. He was like, $10,000 bill. Who should we put on there? Hi. Any objections to me?
That's right. It's my idea, guys.
Yeah.
Upcoming IRS auction set to feature items once owned by Tekashi 6ix9ine, who was reported last April to have his Florida residence raided by federal agents. Now, the online posting from the Florida-based market auctions has been making the rounds on social media this week, with live bidding on the pieces slated to begin on March 5th. Items pictured on the auction site include multicolor enamel grills, a Bruce the Shark pennant. That was the shark from Finding Nemo, right?
That is correct. Yeah, $100,000 for that, by the way.
Jigsaw pendant, a stupid world champs ring, a Cartier watch, a bunch of other stuff, multiple plaques commemorating gold and platinum certifications from the RIAA are also part of the auction. In December of 2023, news broke out that the auctioning off of the 6ix9ine related items was imminent due to the multi-million-dollar judgment in connection with a lawsuit accusing him of hitting a woman with a champagne bottle. By April of the following year, his home had been raided, resulting in multiple items being seized. Then in July, TMZ reported that 2 luxury vehicles previously owned by 6ix9ine, specifically a Lamborghini and a Bentley, had been sold at an auction.
It's not my kind of auction right there. The diamond-studded Bruce the Shark pendant, probably not going to make my shopping cart there.
Man, if I saw that on the ground, I'd probably just kick it.
I think I would too. Like, that's ugly.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it was worth that. Not at all. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, the great service and low rates make the process so easy. And speaking of veterans, Veteran Founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And our overtime today with
Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Super Bowl opening night, the talking season is over with, and they'll get to the practice and getting ready for the big game on Sunday coming up. We'll talk about the Super Bowl and all the marquee things going on in the National Football League, including a possible rule change that one team is pushing for in the future, coming up in the show. All your college football news. If you missed Brock Huard talking Ryan Grubb on the show yesterday, LT got Brock on with us real quick to break down what Alabama's getting in their new offensive coordinator. We will talk about that in this show as well, but the entire interview about Ryan Grubb is available wherever you get our podcast, Apple, Spotify, and, of course, all over YouTube. LT and D would be with you. It is basketball night down in Auburn. Number one in everything Auburn. Getting ready to play again. ESPN had a graphic out yesterday. LT Brownie, explain to me how you can do a graphic. And Little T took the information and made it look really good in a graphic from Next Round Live. But how do you do a graphic about percentages on reaching the Final Four, which is what ESPN did yesterday? 48.9% Houston makes the Final Four. 45% Duke does. 40.6% Auburn, and on down the list. How can you make a bracket, a stat like that without seeing a bracket, LT?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if this was the college football playoff, then you could understand conference affiliation, things like that. But you just feel like if Auburn does everything they're going to do, they're going to be a 1 seed, so their path should be easy or easier than Houston. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, Brown, if the bracket comes out and if I've got Houston in my bracket and I'm Auburn, then Auburn, I think Houston's chances go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't know the path.
It is one thing that has united Alabama and Auburn fans in our Twitter feed is they're both asking how could Houston be number one? Now,
more so not even seeing the bracket, just Houston has a better percentage because I would assume on your top 4 right there, they're projecting all 4 of those to be 1 seeds.
To your point, like during football season, sometimes we will see, like I'll use Clemson as an example coming up this year of being, maybe in the college football playoffs or national champions or whatever, because they're a much easier path through the ACC, right? The SEC, your percentage is going to be down because you have so many good teams, but to reach the Final Four, I just didn't understand that graphic when T sent it out yesterday.
So when Alabama and Auburn fans unite, for one thing, it's because they've both beaten Houston. They're both I've actually seen this game on a court, and we're the better team. And both of them were quote-unquote neutral sites. For Auburn, is more of a road game. But, in football, to Lance's point, like Clemson might have better odds than, say, LSU because LSU's got to go through a tougher schedule.
That's right.
To get to the college football playoff than Clemson does.
Yeah. Doesn't mean Clemson's better.
Right. They've just got an easier path to the playoffs, so there's a better chance they'll be in the playoffs. Thus, there's a better chance they'll win the championship. Yep. That doesn't matter in basketball. Yep. We're just talking about who's the best team.
Until we see the bracket. Now, if that comes out Sunday night or Monday morning, we'd be like, look at there. Houston, they've avoided Auburn, Alabama, Marquette, Kansas. Oh, Houston does have the easiest path on paper. You can do something like that.
Do you trust Houston?
I do now.
You do now?
Watching them more, yeah. I think they've gotten really good.
And I forget which player it is, one of their big scorers and defenders. They're going to rest him this week just to get his ankle closer to 100%. So they're in such a good position. They're starting to plan and work their way towards, being healthy for March Madness. But their defense is really good. Their offense has gotten better. Actually, their offense has been good. Their defense is getting back to Houston standards.
Well, and Ken Palm is number 2 right now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, which is
only behind Tennessee.
That's Houston good. So we got some bracketology here. I'm shocked that Tennessee is still considered a 1 seed.
I told you
by so many people.
The analytics, Tennessee is you all remember. So where does Lenardi have them right there?
Number 1 overall, hasn't changed. Auburn, and boy, Auburn Twitter, I appreciate you guys so much, and I understand my history. But when I tell you I know what Auburn is yesterday on the show, when I say I know what Auburn is, Auburn's the best team in the country.
Okay.
They're the best team in the country. I say that all the time. The fact that Alabama could grow is what I was saying yesterday. Auburn is the number 1 team overall still. Alabama's 2. That's where they moved into last week. Duke is 3, and there is Tennessee. And I guess for me, I'm surprised Tennessee is there. But then
you got to have a 4.
I look behind them, right?
I mean, it's just so much attrition right now in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Iowa State about 8-9 days ago.
Yeah.
Boy, they have hit the skids. Iowa State.
They've lost 3 in a row after getting beat last night. Last 2 by 19 and 17 points. Florida, who just got beat by Tennessee, so that makes sense. There's Purdue and Houston on the 2 lines. That's Lenardi there. Still with 13 SEC teams in there. If you pick another one, let's go, I don't know, either a field of 68.
All right.
Auburn, Alabama, Duke, and Tennessee. They have Tennessee there as well. How about Jerry Palm, the old CBSSports.com Jerry Palm guy?
Super busy guy.
Yeah, always busy.
Always busy, man.
Always
It's going to be
busy.
tough to fit this interview in, man. I am slammed right now.
Projections.
Slammed right now.
Jerry Palm, a little screenshot from earlier today. Auburn, Duke, Alabama, Tennessee. All the bracketologies, all the bracket matrices.
So I told you guys the other day, this was after Tennessee had lost to Auburn. They are the villain in that bad horror film that you could just shoot and shoot and shoot and you never can kill them. Like their head regenerates or,
I
they lay
still
on the
think
ground for a minute and they pick themselves back up.
Lasting image on what we saw Tennessee do to Florida.
Oh, it was impressive. It was a 50-point turnaround. You don't see those very often.
Without 2 of your 3 best players.
Yeah, no, that one does help that image. I see your point there. I was still trying to get the image out where Florida beat them by 30.
By 30. Now, again, it was a 50-point turnaround. You don't see that very often.
And Rick Barnes was sitting on the bench pouting most of that game, not doing anything because there's nothing he could do.
Tennessee is 4th in the net. To put that in perspective, Florida 5th, Alabama 6th, who almost everyone has the number 2 overall seed, still 6th in the net. So Tennessee's in front of them. In the KenPom, Tennessee is 4th. Florida is 5th, Alabama is 6th. They look a lot alike. I mean, I'm just telling you, this Tennessee team, it is going to take a long time for them to die if you don't think they are for real, because the analytics say they're for real. The net says they're for real. The bracketologist says they're for real.
Who has a better personality, Rick Barnes or Jason from Friday the 13th? In Brown's analogy there, they just keep getting killed and keeps coming back.
I like Rick Barnes.
He's a nice guy.
I don't trust him in the tournament.
He's a nice guy.
I don't think anybody does.
I ask if y'all trust Houston. I don't have to ask if you trust Tennessee. I know you don't.
Well, I mean, look at those. So Bruce Pearl's got 1 Final Four. Nate Oats has got 1 Final Four. Rick Barnes has got 1 Final Four.
And he's coached a lot longer than Bruce Pearl. He's longer than Bruce Pearl and a lot longer than Nate Oats.
Yeah, and what was John Shire's got 1 Final Four, right?
No, he's Elite 8. Shire's not made a Final
Didn't
Four.
get there last year.
Yeah, he's Elite 8, yeah.
Surprisingly, last year, NC State woke up the echoes.
Yeah.
Alabama for the first time ever, and then the 2-1 seeds overall, Purdue and UConn.
I'm just saying there's not a lot of Final Four runs for these coaches.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's so hard to get there.
I mean, Few and Izzo aren't guys we're going to be really, maybe when we get to March.
Yeah, that's right. You never know. All of a sudden, UConn's playing good. Michigan State's had his moments, and we'll see what Mark Few and Gonzaga can end up doing. Did they end up winning their big game this past weekend? They had a big late-night game against somebody. I forget who they played now. But
they did.
Yeah. They won?
Yeah.
I need that for my – so I try not to lose again this year, back-to-back years.
Oh, so you didn't watch them. You just need to know. You just need to know if they won.
You know me. I am getting about all the basketball I can handle with SEC basketball right now. Little T and I will be down in Auburn later tonight, where Auburn, last I saw, was a 16.5-point favorite.
17.5.
It's up to 17.5.
17.5 now at Neville Arena against an NCAA tournament team in Oklahoma.
I don't know. You just showed all the bracketologists. Do they have Oklahoma in? They're 34th in the KenPom. That's actually pretty good.
I mean, they've won 3 of 4, so they're getting hot at the right time right now. And Porter Moser he's got to win. He's got to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy that had so much magic when he was at Loyola going to a Final Four. Did he go Final Four, Elite 8?
Maybe.
This was with the elderly nun, right?
Yes, that is Sister Jean. Yeah,
Sister Jean.
Yeah, Final Four, Sweet 16.
Okay.
Within 4 years.
At that place, that's pretty crazy.
But he's only been to the NIT once, and then 15 and 17, 20 and 12, and this year's 15 and 5. I mean, 4 years you don't get to an NCAA tournament at Oklahoma, it ain't good enough.
No, I would agree with you completely. Their KenPom rating right now, here's the neighborhood they're in: Creighton, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Connecticut. If I had told Oklahoma fans in February you'll be ranked right there with Connecticut and the KenPom, they'd have taken it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That's where you find them. So, I mean, this is not an awful basketball team by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and it's 2 freshmen. It's Fears and Forsythe are the guys that are getting it done right now. So if you are Moser, you can be like, building for the future with these guys.
But they are a tournament team right now, one of the 13, because Arkansas, South Carolina, and LSU are not. And that's the only other 3 teams. So, it's an NCAA tournament team right now, Oklahoma, who's coming to Auburn tonight. And it's a 17.5-point favorite for the home number 1 team, Auburn Tigers. Bruce Pearl, on the great sign he has coming out of what he saw from his team on the road in Oxford on Saturday.
Our guards made shots. Miles Kelly, Todd Pettifor, Chad Baker-Mazara, Denver Jones. I mean, that ball went in and out, and they were getting open looks, but they're making almost all of them. So, I think Coach Beard was correct in his assessment, evaluating the game, going, I'm not so sure Auburn has played better or shot it better all year. It took a tremendous shooting performance to win a game on the road against Ole Miss, and that's just that's what it's going to take every night. Like we have to have special every night to win in this league.
Yeah. Right now, they've got to have not special to lose a game in this league. They are unbeaten right now. If they win tonight, halfway through the season, would be at 9-0 if they win tonight of 18 games in conference play. That's Bruce Pearl. Little T and I will be down there after the game, post-game tonight down at Auburn. UAP poll came out yesterday. Auburn, for the 4th straight week, school record 4th straight week, the number 1 team in the AP poll. Alabama is up to 3. The SEC lost a team in Vandy, 9 SEC teams in there. There are 18 schools that play basketball for the ACC. 18 of them. It's a basketball league. Last week, LT was talking football schools, basketball schools. The ACC is a basketball league. All right. 18 schools play basketball in the ACC. Duke is number 2. And you can't find another ACC team in the top 25.
Sad,
that is insanity.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, when that was the alpha league for so long in college basketball.
Yep. I think the next best team is the next team Duke will face.
Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, Ken Palm tells you that. That's the only way I could judge it, because I can't look at the rankings and tell you that, because there's not another one.
Right, I'm a little
8 last year, right?
Yeah.
Clemson?
Oh, yeah. Alabama had to beat them to go to the Final Four.
And a little surprised that Clemson isn't ranked.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, so
they're 18-4. Normally, an 18-4 ACC team gets in.
Yeah, I mean, their one loss at Louisville. I'm talking about in conference.
Yeah, and I think South Carolina beat them in the
pre-conference. South Carolina
right?
beat them, and Memphis beat them. I mean, they've got quality losses all over the place, but I mean, they've won 6 straight. They've won 9 of 10.
That just shows you the lack of respect for the ACC right now. That an 18-4 team with the losses Lance just gave you, which aren't terrible losses. Now, South Carolina kind of is now. It may not have been then, but it is now. That team is unranked. I mean, that's pretty wild when you consider the history of the ACC.
Yeah, and that game is 5 o'clock ESPN in Clemson on Saturday, and that's the one, Duke on the road against quality Clemson. That's the one that could give us possibly that 1-2 matchup that Brownie is yearning for over there in the AP poll a week from Saturday in Tuscaloosa when Auburn and Alabama play. One more basketball story to tell you about, and then we'll flip to a little football. Stephen Pearl with us to talk more Auburn coming up at 9:30. The associate head coach, he'll join us. But last night, Andy Kennedy, horrible start to the season, but Andy continues to coach up this UAB team. He's got a star that is just so consistent in Yaxel Lindenborg, 17-13 last night. Coleman had 13-8, and UAB took over sole possession of second place in the American at one game back of Memphis, who just beat UAB up in Memphis. 64-61, UAB wins it at home last night. They're in second place. This is AK afterwards.
It's just big to protect home court, and we didn't do a great job of that in the non-league, but we're undefeated so far in league play. We need to protect Bartow. I thought we had a good crowd tonight. I thought it would have been a little better if it wasn't a little later tip, but anytime you got a chance to play on a national platform, we were a standalone game, really one of 4 college basketball games on a Monday night, so a lot of people viewing that typically don't see us. It wasn't a typical game for us. We're probably, about 20 points under our average as it relates to points, but I thought we showed a lot of pride in making the plays needed to be made to beat a quality team.
And boy, as I watched that one last night, UAB's defense, North Texas struggled to score points in the final 6.5 minutes of the game, and that was the key for UAB to get that W.
I know for an absolute fact what UAB spends on NIL and basketball. And I don't know how much of that Yaks is getting. If he got every dime of it, it'd probably be money well spent. But the fact that he is still playing there in this era of basketball is pretty remarkable, because that guy could go play a lot of places.
He's got size and a little mobility. And he chose to stay and come back to UAB after their NCAA tournament run last year.
And people were after him.
Yeah, tell me what kind of player, like, I don't know if you can give me a comparison, but, I mean, could he have helped a Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, that quality school in the SEC?
I mean, with his size, he's 10-plus rebounds every game.
Yeah.
I mean, average double-digit rebounds last year, 6'9", 250 pounds. Just a physical guy. I don't know what roster couldn't use a guy like him.
That's right, yeah.
So I would assume that they probably take 40-50% of their NIL, and they probably give it to Yaks.
Yeah, then he's doing okay, but, I mean, he could have made more at other places.
Yeah.
I'm just that guy could start at a lot of schools that are bigger names than UAB. I mean, I credit him for sticking with AK, and I credit AK for doing whatever it took to keep the guy.
Yeah.
Because
and for him maybe to finish last year they were in the tournament, and for UAB, these regular season games are fun and important, but with their schedule, their resume, for them to make the NCAA tournament, it'll come down to that big conference tournament, and a win like last night helps you in the seeding. Right now, in my head, it probably is.
Memphis won them too?
UAB North Texas in the semifinal game. Big, tough game for UAB to get into the finals, and then they'll have 40 minutes to beat Memphis and go to the dance, right?
And I think Memphis still would get in with a loss, right?
Yeah, Memphis would get in with a loss.
So maybe you get the conference officiating.
Yeah.
Let's ring that register twice.
Did both go last year?
No.
Memphis didn't make it last year?
Did they? I don't think they did.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. It was only UAB.
Yeah, I think Memphis would get in this time. All right, that's our basketball. Our buddy Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing switches us over to the Super Bowl conversation from last night. Can you really use Taylor Swift in smack talking? I'll let you be the judge. No smack talking when it comes to Greg from Pell City. He absolutely is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned for over 20 years. Andrea, his wife, and Greg, they run the company. They've got kids, sons, and sons-in-laws that are on the crews that will climb up on your roof and give you an absolutely free, no-cost roof inspection. No cost, no obligation. But here's where Greg wants to help you out the most. If you're like me, I pay insurance on house and car and all that. I don't really know what I'm paying for. I trust my insurance guy. But if you don't play golf with your insurance guy 3 times a week like I do, and you don't really know what's going on, sort of the roofing business has changed when it comes to claims, and Greg understands the changes right now. He wants to help you out, let you know what your policy says, especially if your roof is 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. You need to know some new stuff that's in the insurance world, and Greg wants to help you out. He'll do that for you. You call him up, 205-542-3531. He helps you with storm repair, storm damage, roof replacements, anything on the roof. Greg will do it for you. Storm Restoration Roofing, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. Dallas Goedert, he is the tight end of the Eagles. Travis Kelce, tight end of the Chiefs. We all know who Travis dates.
That's right.
Last night
Swizzle.
Last night at opening night, Dallas Goedert gets asked about Taylor Swift. Can you name me a Taylor Swift song?
Uh-oh.
Here is Dallas Goedert.
Is she the one that does she sing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls"?
Yep.
She doesn't. Man, Taylor Swift song.
He's playing.
She's an incredible artist, but she ain't on my playlist. I'm more of the Philly guys, the Meek Mill. Obviously, been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar. Won't get to see him at the halftime show, but I'm sure he's going to put on quite the performance.
Don't go chasing. Well, he went old school.
Yeah. And didn't even get. He went expanded version, right?
Yeah, didn't even go solo act.
It didn't go waterfalls.
Yeah, didn't go waterfalls. Didn't go solo act. That's a trio that sings "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls."
I didn't know Dallas Goedert sounded like that.
I didn't know Dallas Goedert looked like that.
didn't either.
I've never actually seen the guy without his helmet on.
Me either. I just thought that was hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
I mean, I don't think you could get further away from. Well, you could get further away from Taylor
You could,
Swift,
yeah. But TLC is pretty.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big jump.
That was nowhere close. And,
I like that song, by the way. You guys like that song?
Don't Go Chasing
It's
Waterfalls.
Okay. Waterfalls.
Oh.
I think Waterfalls, like Lance said, is technically the name of the song.
It is, yeah.
Nobody ever calls it that, though.
Nope. Especially not Dallas Goddard. So you don't like that song?
Oh, I love that song.
Oh, you
Brandon.
love
That
it.
is- that
Lance
is-
gave it the.
No, that's okay.
That is that is Jimmy fetal position holding a pillow in one of his moods songs there.
Oh, go Jason.
Yeah.
What are they singing about?
Well, I think
here?
it was just trying not to get an STD, right?
Oh, I don't know what it was about.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, that's not what that song's about.
I swear, I think it was.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to Google that.
What
There
song
is.
are we talking about?
Well,
Waterfalls,
I got it,
TLC,
Tyler.
yeah. I think it was about not getting the package, staying away from AIDS.
There's no way that's what
I'm
that song
telling
was
you.
about.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's what that song was about?
When I'm
Have
listening,
you seen them say that?
No,
Meaning
I'm
of
just.
Waterfalls is about vices, and each plot line in the song unfolds as a cautionary tale against various vices.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there might be
that's
a
in the
verse
park.
about
Yeah.
somebody not.
That's one of the
wanting to-
number one vices, right?
I
It
thought
is, yeah.
I thought it was a freaking breakup song, or when your dreams aren't going well.
No.
I'm
That's
laying.
what it was too.
I'm hugging a pillow sometimes, like, oh, Jim, stop chasing waterfalls. Just enjoy where you're at in life. Doesn't mean any of that.
Okay,
stuff.
Little Precious has a natural obsession for temptation, but he just can't see.
Okay.
She gives him loving that his body can't handle, but all he can say, baby, it's good to me. One day he goes and take a glimpse in the mirror, but he doesn't recognize his own face. His
Yeah.
health is fading, and he
got them
doesn't know
sores on
why.
him.
Three letters
Yeah.
took him to his final resting place.
Yeah. That's.
I owe you an apology.
Yeah.
I've never stopped
Well,
to listen to the
HIV
lyrics.
is not going to take him there. It would be 4. It would be the 8.
Well,
right?
yeah, but
I think that song's ruined for me now.
I kind of agree. It was a much
That's-
happier song before
That's
this.
Sorry,
just one of the
fellas.
vices, then, right?
That
So
is
there's
the
other
second.
vices.
That's the second verse. Five.
Yeah, I think that's the only one that's going to take him to the grave, though.
Yeah. Waterfalls are, as often referred to, don't go chasing
yes.
those waterfalls.
What were the
Wow.
other vices? I thought it was all
The
about
first one seems drugs, cause she goes out and makes his money the best way he knows how. Another body laying cold in the gutter.
Yeah.
It might be drugs.
Could be an assassin.
The last one is a longer verse. I don't really see a vice in that one.
I
yeah.
never hear that. I only hear the chorus.
I do too, and I'm like Tyler. I don't know I'll ever listen to that song the same again.
May
I
get
mean,
it off
stick to
playlist.
the rivers and the lakes that you used to.
Well,
Don't
yeah,
chase
it's-
waterfalls.
Well, I know. I thought that meant like boating. They're going out. It's got a nautical theme.
Just date the girl you're
Yeah.
dating. Don't
Yeah.
go chasing waterfalls. Is what I thought it was.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
got to listen to the lyrics.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Gotta
I
listen to the lyrics.
apologize. Never knew.
Kendrick Lamar doing halftime, by the way, won 5 Grammys over the weekend. It's he is expected to bring out a ton of people to help him sing songs. The last one, it's down to 3. The betting odds on who will help him sing the finale: Beyonce, Rihanna, or
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Bad Blood. Kendrick Lamar sings part of Bad Blood with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I was about to say Taylor's the only one out of the 3 you listed that actually has a song with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beyonce only does country now, right?
That's right.
She does not,
And-
but it is a betting Beyonce, Rihanna, U2. I left U2 out. It's hard to see them come out and help Kendrick Lamar. Though I think U2 played New Orleans. That was their halftime show, right? Was that New Orleans?
Yes.
It was New Orleans of 2001.
Post 9/11, right?
Yeah, Super Bowl 36.
So that's something to look forward to. 5-time Grammy winner just this past year, Kendrick Lamar, with a lot of people helping him through his set list, and the possibility of a Beyonce, Rihanna, or Taylor Swift finale there happening this weekend. Speaking of Super Bowls in New Orleans, it's the 11th time the Super Bowl has been in New Orleans.
I remember one of the first ones I ever watched was 1980, Super Bowl 15 with the Eagles and Raiders. And we heard, Herm told the story before about the Eagles. They all met curfew. They didn't go out. The Raiders were partying in the quarter the whole time, and the Raiders walked them off the field.
That's the one Herm
He hates confetti.
right?
Yeah,
that's right.
absolutely hates confetti. That was the first, and then I remember John Elway getting destroyed
Bears destroyed the Patriots there.
Bears destroyed the Patriots. 49ers destroyed the Broncos. Rams lost to the blackout game. Rams lost to the Patriots. The Ravens beat the 49ers.
Yeah, that was the blackout game.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I was a kid, isn't that where the Orange Crush Broncos got beat by somebody? Was it the Cowboys?
San Francisco.
Oh, you mean way back?
Yeah, like in the 70s.
Yeah,
Orange Crush.
First one I remember was Super Bowl 15 there.
Was that Dallas that beat them?
I want to say it was Dallas that beat them. Probably the first Super Bowl ever played in the Superdome.
But I think that, how many did you say this is going to be, number what?
I think this is 11 if I counted correctly.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I wonder is...
People like that town way more than I do.
It's probably them or Miami for the most.
Probably so.
That is the easiest town for a Super Bowl, though. I'm just talking about the
walking.
infrastructure. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Everything's
you walk
walk
everywhere.
Yeah. But there's no telling what hotel rooms.
Because you can't do that in the other.
Well, like Miami, you can't do that.
So I think Miami would be number 2 on this list, I would guess.
Yeah, that stadium is way away from where you would stay.
I would say Miami's either 1 or 2.
Yeah.
They may be more than New Orleans. Super Bowl's this weekend. Look forward to that on, I think, 5:30 Central, 5:37, somewhere around there is the kick time. For those that are wondering, coming up this weekend. All right, back to basketball and number 1 Auburn when we come back. LT, such a big night of basketball, not just 3 SEC games, 2 good ones, Vandy, Florida, Kentucky, and Ole Miss, but a lot of other great basketball, including Marquette and St. John, Michigan State, and UCLA. Lance has plays at lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com, brought to you by our friends at Hemphill.
Yeah, jump on board, win with us always. Again, lanceslock.com, free play every single day. Always brought to you by friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. If you experience any of those, hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Happy football season. At the next round, we Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays. It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
13-game win streak for Auburn. Almost a full calendar year since they last lost at Neville, and they run into an Oklahoma team tonight that the last time Oklahoma was at Neville, I think I was there. Somebody gave me seats like in row 1, right behind the scorer's table, like row 1. And Stephen Pearl said, how the hell did you get these seats?
That's a good question, Mike Stephen.
Yeah. And I got friends.
Yes. He didn't know you had friends. Yeah. The Auburn Associate Head Coach joins us now. It was a legitimate question, Coach. I would have asked the same.
Hi, fellas. How we doing?
Good. How are you?
He must have pulled strings because I've never been asked back to those seats ever again.
Yeah.
I figured it had to have been Taylor, but I mean, if you have more than one Auburn friend, I'd be relatively surprised.
I've actually got 6. My entire supper club.
Yeah, he can count them. He can count them.
I've got 6, and they've got about 12 kids in school at Auburn right now. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That's good.
So when you go to Ole Miss and score 92, that to me is unexpected. I mean, that is such – Chris Beard is so good defensively, doing it on the road. That was one heck of a performance.
Yeah, I mean, we shot it pretty well. We obviously, like, when people double a post on Janai, it really opens up our offense because he's become such a great passer. And when you surround him with a lot of really good shooters – obviously it leads to making 14 threes. I mean, that's the 11th time we've made double-digit threes. So that wasn't really all that surprising. For us, I thought our offensive rebounding, Dylan Cardwell had like 4 offensive rebounds, 3 of which he kicked out for perimeter shots. So our guys did do a really good job, I thought, of knocking down open threes when they came to them. I thought we were, really sloppy early. 5 turnovers early in that game. Obviously, Ole Miss does that. They're top 10 in the country in steal percentage and turnover percentage. So it's something that they obviously like to do. And defensively, I thought we were really bad at Ole Miss. Transition defense was subpar, and I thought we didn't do a great job of locking into personnel. Padula has 29 on us, and he had 4 against us last year when he played at Virginia Tech, and he's really improved. He's a hell of a player. But I thought our guys, obviously a really, really difficult environment. I think that was their 3rd largest home crowd in the arena's history. So it was great to have a bunch of Auburn folks in the building too. But obviously a great first ranked matchup, and I thought our guys, for the most part, responded to it and did a good job of finding a way to win in a tough environment.
Have you figured out this Oklahoma team yet? They start out conference play. They lose their first 4. Now they've won 3 of 4. A couple of really good freshmen in that backcourt with Fears and Forsythe. But what do you see with the Sooners team when you look at them on tape?
I mean, they're playing better. They've won 3 out of 4. And if you look at their losses early, I mean, at Alabama, only one team's gone in there and won. Texas A&M is, just going on the road and stealing games as of late. They're really tough. They're a top 10 team. Georgia's only lost, I want to say 1 or 2 games at home this year, so that's a really tough place to play. And Texas is a team that's playing, really good basketball right now. So I think, they've played 4 really good teams in our league. all 4 are tournament teams. And then, they're able to win at Arkansas and beat a ranked Vanderbilt team by 30 points at home. So, and then early in the year, they win Battle for Atlantis, beating Providence, Arizona, Louisville. They beat a top 25 ranked Michigan team. So, it's a team that obviously has a ton of ability offensively. They're really special. Jeremiah Fears, one of the best offensive freshmen, really just one of the best offensive point guards in all of college basketball. Jalen Moore played with Miles Kelly at Virginia Tech, leading scorer in our league right now. And he's a 3-man that's playing the 4 for him. So it's a really tough matchup for guys at that position. And, they surround him with guys that can really shoot the ball. You got multiple guys that shoot over 45% from 3. The Goodine kid has, made 7 threes against Texas A&M in the first half. So offensively, it's a really dangerous team. A team that if they get hot can obviously on any night, have a play well and obviously go out there and win big games. So offensively, it's going to be really tough for us, and we got to get back in transition and do a great job of guarding their guards. They shoot they're top 25 in percentage from 3-point, 2-point, and free throw line. So offensively, they're a bit of a juggernaut, and defensively, they're solid. We got to obviously do a good job of executing, making shots, and just kind of doing what we've done on the offensive end to this point, and we got to obviously improve on our defense a little bit.
In journalism school, they taught me not to have a favorite. Luckily, I decided to be an entertainer and not a journalist. Dylan Cardwell is my favorite Auburn player. And it started last year at the SEC tournament. I just love his personality. I love how he's just a giving player to his teammates. Him being back and what he's doing with this team this year, tell me about him and what you see from him in practice and around the program, because I love the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's the definition of what we as coaches, look for in young men. A kid that's, stayed at Auburn since his freshman year and, had to play behind guys like Walker Kessler and now Janai Broome and, just continuously year after year has gotten better and has just become elite in his role. Has accepted his role, has loved his role, and it's the reason why he's one of the winning. Maybe I think he's going to end up being the winningest player in Auburn basketball history. And Dylan in the Ole Miss game, he like I said, he gets those huge offensive rebounds, kickouts, and no one talks about this, but he goes 4 for 5 from the foul line, late in that game, and that's just a testament to him because he just constantly stayed right, stayed ready, and just works at his game, and is always in the gym working on his free throws and, working on passing out of the post and working on finishing around the rim. And obviously he's just that spark plug and, his energy is contagious and it gets the rest of the guys going. So, yeah, I was incredibly proud of Dylan, and we have such high expectations for Dylan. That was the second double-double of his career. And, we think he's capable of doing that every night. So, for Dylan, it's just about continuing to believe in himself and continuing to have high expectations for himself. Because when Dylan plays well, obviously we're a different team.
Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl with us. Auburn plays Oklahoma tonight down at Neville Arena. Dylan also said after the game that BP and you had recruited some guys that are not right in the head, which was a compliment. Yeah, he meant it as a compliment. Yeah. He laughed about it. I thought that was a pretty funny line, and you're around those guys more than any of us are, so I wondered how you interpret it.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. You come to our practice, he's not wrong. You come to our practice and it's a damn circus. It's just our guys, our kids being kids, and it's kind of just how BP's always coached and kind of let his players be who they are and be themselves. And, I think that carries over to when – we play in difficult environments, and we're 5-0 on the road in SEC play this year. And, guys, like you said, Chad Baker and Tahad, like those guys are better when we're on the road because they love taking that role on of going in there and playing the villain a little bit. And, it kind of shows with their step up and their performance. And, BP's always kind of specialized in guys like that, have a little edge to them and, have a little more going on than your typical student athlete. And he's able to bring the best out of them. And that's why guys, like them flourish in our system. So, it was a funny quote, but it's a very true quote as well.
A very, very random question here, but maybe one of the most surprising trades in NBA history. I know the answer is probably both, but if you had to guarantee your life on one of the two guys right now to win a national championship, you can have Luka or you can have Anthony Davis on this current team. Who would be the better fit to guarantee a national championship? And again, I know the answer is probably both.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to win with either one of them. But I mean, I think Anthony Davis is just, to me, he's more of a guy that is going to impact, winning just because he's able to do it on both ends. Luka is a once in a lifetime generational talent. Offensively, he may end up being one of the best, big point guards in the history of the game, but his biggest, flaw and the biggest knock on him over the years is that he just doesn't guard. He's a hole defensively. And that's something that, just kind of looking on Twitter and stuff and just kind of reading through things. I think, if LeBron is wanting to still be a mentor at this point in his career, I think he could be really good for Luka because no one's, taken care of their body or been a professional or trained like a professional more than LeBron has. And maybe that's something that, Luka could learn from, but I think Anthony Davis, even though we're pretty full up front, having somebody like that on your team would be really hard to replace.
Did BP almost? I mean, was Anthony Davis in the mix? I know Calipari obviously gets him to Kentucky, and they have that incredible magical season. But did you guys recruit him?
There's no chance we were getting Anthony Davis. Sometimes you gotta know where to hunt and where not to hunt, and that was not one of the areas that we could go hunting.
I mean, so, what would he get in today's NIL? A guy like that coming out. I mean, I guess Cooper Flagg's probably getting that.
Yeah, I mean, it's you name the number, he's going to get it. It's similar to guys like Jabari or Chet or Paolo. Those guys. In this day and age of NIL, could have gotten really whatever they wanted at this point.
I hope Taylor sends out a tweet that says Stephen Pearl just said on Next Round that Luka would not start at Auburn because he's lazy on the defensive end and lazy in the weight room. That would be great. Hey, halfway point in the SEC after tonight's game. How do you not let the grind set in? Because it does seem like the season is so long and you guys are at the top of every metric, every standing. How do you not just mentally let the guys start playing it forward to March and still take care of business right now? That's got to be a daily something you guys talk about in meetings.
Yeah, I mean, we as a staff and we as a team feel like we haven't even started playing our best basketball yet, especially in SEC play. Like, minus the first 30 minutes against Missouri, we really haven't played as well as we're capable of playing in the first 8 games. We feel like there's a ton of room for improvement and a ton of room for growth. And after every game, I'll break down the defense and Coach Burgomaster will break down the offense. And we have clip tapes of, everywhere that we need to get better. And it takes up a lot of time because there's a lot of things that we got to improve on as a team. And I think that's what kind of keeps our guys going is they also believe that, we're far from perfect and we're far from where we really want to be playing our best basketball. So that's kind of how you don't let guys get complacent or, let the success set in because, we want more out of them every single day in practice, every single game because, quite frankly, like there's a lot we got to get better at for us to continue to beat the best teams on our schedule and for us to, have a chance in March to do something. So that's kind of what our approach has been, and I feel like our players are taking on that same approach.
All right, he is Auburn Associate Head Coach Steve Pearl. Auburn in Oklahoma tonight. There in Neville Arena. Coach Pearl, thank you very much for the time. Always great talking to you.
Appreciate you, fellas. War Eagle.
All right, thank you. Good luck tonight. That is Stephen Pearl joining us each week. Very kind with his time, and we appreciate him doing that. And Auburn takes on Oklahoma tonight at Neville. I want to, first of all, from our friends at Johnson RV, they want to say thank you to everyone that came out to the Huntsville show. You made it super successful for them. I hope we appreciate that. They appreciate that as well. Did a great job there out of all you at Von Braun. You get a chance to show out if you're in Birmingham. At the BJCC, it starts Valentine's on the 14th. It goes through the 16th. But you could take advantage of all the show deals without going to the BJCC or having had to go to the Von Braun. You could do that right there on either lot. So they got all kinds of options for you. How about payments? Starting at just $129 a month with approved credit. They also have a great selection right now of travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes at Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything that is due or qualifying pre-owned. You can see more at johnstonrvcenter.com.
I follow Johnston RV on all their social platforms, and seeing the crowds coming in and hanging out with them at Von Braun this weekend, it was great to see. Just wonderful folks up there, great business, and fun to see the crowds having fun with them. We'll get back to basketball coming up. Some coaching news yesterday. And this is just such a great story of where Scott Cochran has been, where he fell to, and where he's rebuilding his personal life and his career. But Scott Cochran became a head coach yesterday at the University of West Alabama, and he'll be the head coach there. He's been spending a lot of his time between Georgia, his last moment coaching at Georgia, and now getting this head coaching job, traveling the country, speaking specifically to a lot of college athletes on behalf of the American Addiction Recovery Program. And he is very upfront and talks about his battle with addiction and beating that now and battling with that and trying to help others. And now he's going to jump back professionally into football. And what a great opportunity down at West Alabama. This guy, full of energy and has so much life ahead of him. And we'll see what he does as a head football coach now.
Yeah, this is really interesting because you guys remember when he made the transition from strength and conditioning to special teams, and that was quite a story in its own right because he wanted to be more on field, obviously. He's got 8 national championships. He's only 45 years old. I don't know what to expect. We know he's got the energy.
He's learned at the feet of 2 of the best.
He absolutely has. When you look at Nick and Kirby,
yeah.
I don't know how that translates, but for West Alabama, it's a splash higher as far as like everybody that knows college football knows who Scott Cochran is.
Yeah, endless energy. I mean, you could see it on the sidelines. Dunaway had a couple opportunities to be the media coach at the spring game. Lance and I joined him once or twice. I don't know how many times you did it. I did it once.
I did it twice.
And seeing him in the locker room away from the cameras and the side of the fans and his energy in that locker room, I mean, the guy, he just had boundless energy.
Yeah, and the leadership part is I mean, you get in that off-season program the way the rules used to be, he sort of was the head coach in the off-season. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, it was funny, Lance talked about him moving to the field, and that was something he wanted to do to be an actual position coach. But even that time we were coaching the Alabama team, he was handling a lot of special teams. Now, that was a split staff, obviously, but it was something, you know, that's the old, when y'all get me to do my Scott Cochran invitation, that's where that comes from, is he was getting the special teams guys ready to go for the second half, and he was coaching them up.
Yeah, I saw your text yesterday. I had no idea, like, he was even in the mix for this job.
It came out of nowhere to me. Yeah, me and you both. I knew he was doing what Dunaway said. But, you know, just bigger than that.
Yeah, because I remember when Sisler, did kind of a launch for her book and had him on this platform, and I forgot what the setting was exactly. I think it was back maybe early fall.
Yeah, it was the book launch, and we did the interview right here in the studio. Yeah. And he was very open about the addiction he came, and people around the program didn't even know he was battling until they did, and he had to go to a very dark place and then go to a very bright place in recovery. He tells a great story.
Yeah, I just, beyond just all of the things we talked about, the fact that he's getting a second chance, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
You're not always guaranteed that, and I'm glad that somebody was willing to give him another shot at it and just see what can happen.
Hear his story, but in his story, he said a lot of people turned their back on him. The 2 guys that never turned their back on him was Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. Was always there through the recovery and all of that. So he's been around 2 of the greatest, and now he gets a chance to lead his own program. D2 level, I believe, right, in West Alabama, D2?
Yeah, they play D2, yeah.
D2, very competitive level, and we'll see what he does as a head coach now at West Alabama. More football news right after I remind you about our friends at West Alabama, Way to Wellness. Our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Your chance to jump in right now, whether it's with meal replacement, something I've been doing for a long time. Injection therapy, they got that for you. It's very popular. A lot of people using injection therapy. You can do that all at Way to Wellness. To get more details on what they offer, how it all works, go to the website, aplanforme.com. Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness can help you. They got a free consultation. There's no contract, and there's no sign-up fee. So just get the details and see if they can jumpstart your weight loss, and helps me control my blood pressure and my cholesterol when I eat better. And they've got ways to help you out and support you in that. It's Way to Wellness. The website, again, aplanforme.com, your journey to healthy living. Big 12 schedule comes out today. I don't know what matchups you look for. It was one of those leagues last year that was so good with so many quality teams, but I mean, there was a lot of parity, so there was no real matchup. But instantly when I think about that league, Scadaboo's not back. Still have Levitt at quarterback at Arizona State, but I don't know.
I mean, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Scadaboo all gone.
That's right. The Colorado was my next chapter. Those two big stars are gone. You start looking down.
I would think BYU and Arizona State is going to be the matchup.
So that's your big matchup?
That's the first one you look at and you circle, okay, I want to watch that game.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what was the most consequential Big 12 game last year.
I mean, it was a Big 12 championship.
Well, I mean, regular season, obviously, it's the championship.
I mean, just with either Iowa State or Arizona State.
But obviously that's going to be it. But regular season, I mean, one of them was Colorado and Kansas. So you never would have seen that coming. Now, Kansas was just marginally in the race. Everybody was in the race at the end. But that was really what knocked Colorado out of the Big 12 championship game, was that loss at Kansas.
Truthfully, at least as I remember it, Lance, it felt like Arizona State in that Big 12 race was sort of under the radar and surged towards the end, almost like a horse race. They were like rounding the turn and down the stretch they come. It felt like they were sort of back at third or fourth or fifth, and then they passed the fourth place, the third place, second and first.
Yeah, well, because they started out conference play 2-2. They lost at Texas Tech. They lost to Cincinnati, and then they end the season with 6 consecutive wins. So, yeah, they did come out of nowhere to actually knock off Iowa State, to take Texas to triple overtime. I still don't know how they lost that game.
A controversial no pass interference call.
Yeah,
or controversial. Was it a pass interference or there's no pass interference?
There was no pass interference.
Yeah, that one.
That'll get you.
Yeah,
but I do think Arizona State and BYU would be that game you look for. I don't know. Do they play this year? We don't know. Right?
We don't know. Released today. We'll find out. And
because I know Arizona State opens at Mississippi State, which that's quite the opener, isn't it?
For who?
Yeah.
I mean, for both.
For both, really, I guess, yeah.
Because that's, Arizona State will be favored in that game, even on the road probably. But, man, that's a big game for Levy to kick off year 2.
Yeah, I mean, that was a team that was so far under the radar last year, Mississippi State. Yeah.
They no positive momentum.
There really wasn't. I mean, they did play that, that early season game at Arizona State. And I remember looking at them thinking, that's a pretty good team. And I had no clue what Arizona State was at that time, right? Yeah. I mean, it's easy to look back now and say, wow, that was even more impressive. But at the time, I didn't know what Arizona State was. Right. But I thought Mississippi State in that game handled themselves pretty well. I remember even thinking, State may not be the worst team in the conference this year, as everybody has them penciled in for. Turned out I was incorrect. State was the worst team in the conference last year.
Yeah, but to your point, at that moment, it seemed like, well,
do you think
they handled themselves
so
well?
It was 30-23 Arizona State. Do you think Mississippi State in week 2 held Scadaboo in check?
I remember him playing in that game just because of his name, but I don't remember him running wild, but I could be wrong.
I think that may have been the first time we ever tried to say his name on the show.
What do you have?
33 carries, 262 yards.
Okay.
Yeah.
7.9 a clip.
It was late at night, so clearly I should have remembered him running wild, but I do remember that was the first time I'd heard his name.
I will tell you, though, for Arizona State to only win that game by 7 at home
my point.
And to outrush Mississippi State 346 yards to 24.
Do you have both teams' numbers up?
Yeah.
What was State throwing? That was where I was like...
Yeah, Blake Chapin was okay.
Chapin
18
had a pretty
of 28,
good game.
268, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
See, I remember thinking Blake Chapin's a quarterback that could play in this league.
Yeah, Scadaboo was also your leading receiver for Arizona State, only 35 yards.
How about me saying he didn't go wild? He had almost 300 total yards.
They only threw the football 20 times and ran it 57.
I know you're going to think this is crazy, but I believe one of our spotlights the next week, LT put Scatterboo on it on something, stock up Scatterboo or something.
I don't remember that, but
it was on a.
I think it was later.
Was one of our dry race boards at one point. Maybe that was the week.
Yeah, it wasn't week 2.
So there you go. We get the Big 12 release today. We did get a final approval on Mike Gundy's contract, $1 million reduced, and $6.75 million is what he's going to make this upcoming season. That's Mike Gundy's new contract as he loses $1 million.
Pay a little overpaid of late.
Yes.
I mean, if you just take what he's recently done, that's probably more than he deserves. Especially last year.
Look forward to seeing the Big 12 schedule release and circle some of those games coming up for this upcoming college football season, which is a flat even 200 days away today.
All right, about to dip under the 200.
That's right. In our spotlight later on, we'll be back to Ryan Grubb and what he brings to Tuscaloosa. Clay Travis brings something to the show when we come back on the other side. The show being brought to you always from our wonderful friends at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios here. We're back in a moment on the next round.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Roback. Go to roback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
when the clock hits 0. Go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Clay Travis joins us momentarily in this segment. We'll talk Super Bowl and everything else going on in the world of sports. Week 14 of college basketball, and the SEC gets going tonight. That includes Oklahoma and number 1 Auburn, 8 o'clock on the SEC network. That follows the Vandy, Florida game. And then a big one at 6 on ESPN is Kentucky and Ole Miss. Man, in that game, LT and Brownie, Kentucky and Ole Miss, 2 teams coming off of losses, 2 teams that are definitely tournament teams, but they're looking for a little positive momentum. Find out who they really are.
Yeah, Ole Miss 5-point favorite in this spot. Do have a play on that at lanceslog.com, but very, very important game for both of those programs.
Now, Ole Miss got to turn this thing around at some point. That was a very promising team, tied for first, as Chris Beard talked about, coming out of Tuscaloosa. And they have lost 4 or 5 since then. And, I mean, when you have to play Kentucky, I don't know what to expect out of this Kentucky team, though, coming off that. That is one of the most disappointing losses they've had in quite a while, with everything that was going on in that game.
5:30 on FS1 tonight, just so you'll be able to watch really good basketball if you want to as well. Marquette and St. John's at Madison Square Garden. This Marquette team is really good. This St. John's team is really good. This will be a good heat check for Rick Pitino's bunch.
Yeah, Marquette very, very disappointing over the weekend as a 7-point favorite, lose the game outright. But getting 3.5 in Jamaica, New York. I think they're playing in Jamaica tonight.
Oh, so is it in MSG? They're not at the Garden?
I think it's back and forth, isn't it?
Yeah, they play some on campus. Yeah, but I just figured
this is such an early tip. I mean, it's 5:30 Central tip.
5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. Yeah. I just assumed that Marquette's such a big name that it'd be at the Garden. But maybe they may have conflict with the Knicks. I don't know. I just assumed it was the Garden.
I thought you were a Knicks fan. Y'all don't know. You don't know if y'all are home.
Well,
or
we
not?
won last night. Brunson had a big night.
Hey, you're not gonna play back to back.
Yeah, it was a. Well, sometimes they do. Don't they?
Not the big stars, Jim. The big stars don't like the back-to-backs. I will tell you if you'll give me 2 seconds.
I'd love that one to be at MSG. I watched one St. John's game earlier this year. It was there, and it took me back to my childhood.
It is MSG, number 11 versus number 12. I was talking to somebody last night about Rick Pitino. He's like, I mean, that guy wins everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. If he still has a heartbeat in the hospital, beep, beep.
Oh, yeah. Don't count him out.
He's still got a chance to win.
And he's in the Taylor has sent out the latest Ken Pom teams that have the analytics that are shared by every national championship team since 2002.
And Pitino's in it?
They are in it, my friend.
Wow.
I mean, I'll tell you, if you'll give me 2 seconds, I'll tell you what their numbers are. I mean, the guy just, all he does, actually, they're not in it. I apologize.
Okay.
They're all full on offense. That's my apologize. I apologize. They're all full on offense.
It's quite okay.
Marquette is in it, though.
Hey, how about it's good to be Kings coming off their Final Four, Alabama. You know, Nate Oats has a little pull, little swag in Tuscaloosa these days. So Alabama's on the road. They're off midweek. They're on the road Saturday in Fayetteville. Then they play Tuesday in Austin. You know what Nate's doing?
Nate is turkey hunting.
We're not coming home.
And just go stay out on the road?
Yeah, Fayetteville, and then we're going to go stay at a hotel. We've rented out some space, and we're going to watch the Super Bowl as a team, take a day off on Sunday, then Monday go into Austin, and then, boom, play the game Tuesday night. It's a nice little 2-game road trip for Alabama this weekend. Good.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you would have traveled on Monday anyway.
Yep.
So
would have been a late trip home and then an early trip out on Monday.
Yeah. It's actually pretty smart.
Who was the coach complaining about that the other day? It was about
it was Mick Cronin.
Yeah.
Talking about how we've seen the Eiffel Tower, the Statue of Liberty 4 times this year. I don't know why he said Eiffel Tower.
Is this a plant? Yeah. Are you serious with these questions?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, is that a plan? Did y'all set him up for this?
Our friends at New Life Art, Daniel Moore Art, all the great works in Alabama football history, danielmooreart.com. The latest is The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championship seasons. Go check it all out and get the latest work, and check the old one out with the promo code TNR at danielmooreart.com. Well, when Clay hops up here, pay close attention to our new AI-generated call screen picture. What does Clay always call Alabama?
Softball school.
Softball school. When
Yep.
Clay pops up,
That's okay.
notice it is softball school Clay Travis. His picture is on with us.
The AI Clay Travises are tremendous. Welcome in, Clay. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'll look forward to seeing the AI. They have been killing it. I met your last advertiser. I think I told you guys this on the beach at 30A. Great guy. I look forward to seeing his painting to memorialize Kalen DeBoer's 9-4 season. I know Alabama fans are excited to be able to hang that one in the house. The loss to Tennessee, loss to Vanderbilt. Maybe he'll be able to memorialize the goalposts in the Cumberland River. So it's gonna be a good one. In all seriousness, he's a really good guy.
Oh, he is.
And he and his family are great.
Well, listen, I'm pissed off at you because you've jinxed Alabama softball. They're preseason 10th, not in the country, 10th in the SEC. You've jinxed Alabama softball, dude.
I mean, I don't know what y'all have to live for now. I will say, LT loves hypotheticals. Would you have ever believed that you could have a number 1 Alabama versus number 2 Auburn or vice versa basketball game at any point in your lives as sports fans? Would you have foreseen that?
No, and I even said this last week, Clay. I said I still don't believe we will get both Alabama and Auburn as 1 seeds in this tournament. Now, it seems far-fetched based on the way both those teams are playing and, the teams behind them right now. But I said I believe if we ever got to the moon, we will get back to the moon before Alabama and Auburn are both 1 seeds in this tournament.
I mean, look, first of all, every week is a.
And by the way, did we get to the moon? Before you get to this,
roller coaster.
Did we get to the moon? I've never heard your
You
take
mean
on
like
that.
in 1969?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm a moon landing guy. I don't know that I have. First of all, most of my conspiracy theories have all been right. I've been like, conspiracy theorists are on like a Miami Dolphins undefeated season level run. What's the line? It takes about 6 months to go from, oh yeah, of course that's true, to, oh, you're crazy, that's a conspiracy theory. I don't think I have any crazy conspiracy theories on history, really, that like I deeply believe that everybody else would think is crazy. I'm trying to think about something that's out there where I would have an opinion that's. I mean, my sports one is I think I've told you guys this before. Like I really believe David Stern suspended Michael Jordan for gambling on Bulls games, and that's why he went and played baseball for a couple of years. And I understand that they both deny it. And David Stern's dead now, and the Michael Jordan departure never really made sense to me. So that's been my theory on that. I think that's probably my biggest sports conspiracy theory.
Where are you on JFK?
Yeah,
because we went to Dealey. When was that? July.
So that was back at Media Days, and I had told all of our crew, I'm like, I am firmly in the camp that Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't even really involved. He was a setup patsy. That was his level of involvement.
Yeah, I don't think Barry Pepper and Saving Private Ryan makes that check.
And I told him, I said, when you guys get to Dealey Plaza, I'll let you be the judge. You tell me if you think you can make those shots. And to a man and female, everybody with us was like, yeah, Brown, I kind of agree with you now.
Yeah, I think there's way more going on in the JFK. Now, let me I'm a big history nerd, so let me take a step back and let's pretend, first of all, whatever you think about politics, the fact that Trump came within a quarter inch of getting his head blown off on July 13th on live television is one of the great mercies that has been shown on our country that it didn't happen, right? Because if it had, 100 years from now, it would be like the modern JFK thing. Because, guys, no one would believe that random 20-year-old loser bro was able to just climb onto a roof that close to the president and kill him, and that he acted alone, right? So
right.
I tend to agree with you, Brown, and you guys, that I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. But I think what it also represents is we don't want to believe that one crazy person acting alone can truly do something that is able to change the course of human history, that someone so relatively insignificant can unleash the hordes of what happened, right? Whether it's James Earl Ray killing MLK, whether it's I think it's Sirhan killing RFK Jr. or certainly Lee Harvey Oswald with JFK. We don't like to think that one insignificant person can take the life of someone so significant. So I think innately in our brains, that we don't match that up as equality, meaning that one person should be able to do something so insignificant should be able to do something to someone so significant. So I do think that kind of factors into why there are larger conspiracy theories. Let me also say this. I think it was actually way easier to cover things up in the era when JFK was killed. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover was doing all sorts of crazy stuff for 48 years as the head of the FBI. It's why I don't really trust the FBI that much now. But if you read history at all, what J. Edgar Hoover was doing was pretty unbelievable. So the idea that he could have in some way been orchestrating the murder of a president of the United States doesn't strike me as crazy. Let me also say this. The stuff that JFK and MLK were into, I don't think that most people know. Like, I'll just give you two examples from each of those guys. The Secret Service would run out teenage girls who JFK had swimming naked in the White House pool. They would get on their walkie-talkies to know when Jackie O was landing to come back in, and they would gather up all the girls JFK was sleeping with and rush them out of the White House.
Boy, good thing he didn't have a Ring doorbell back then.
Yeah, including teenage girls.
Wow.
Can you? I mean, like swimming naked and like skinny dipping with him in the White House pool. All right. So one, that's MLK on the day that he was killed. The woman, I mean, he slept with everything that moved too, MLK, even though he was a preacher. There was a woman he had just slept with in his hotel room when he walked out onto the balcony to get shot at the Lorraine Motel. They snuck her out because they were still trying to protect his image from his wife and his family, even after he got assassinated. Can you imagine being the guy in charge of trying to get MLK's side chick out of the Lorraine Motel without being seen after he just got assassinated? I mean, that was some dude's job. He was like, yeah, he's dead, but you got to get the side chick out of here. Nobody can see her. Like, I mean, this is the world in which, the 1960s was rolling. Like, we think our guys now are corrupt. Like, frankly, I mean, these guys were into a lot crazier stuff back in the day. So I think that it was also easier. I think there's more, for better and worse, I think there's more cameras. I think there's more microphones. I think there's more of a microscope on all of us. So it's way harder to hide than it was in past eras, both good and bad deeds.
So to answer your question, no, none of us thought it would be number one Alabama or Auburn versus number two Alabama or Auburn. I can't believe, no, seriously though, Clay, I can't believe this could happen before an actual Iron Bowl is number one versus number two. That's what's crazy is the Iron Bowl, which in my opinion is the best rivalry in college sports, has never given us that.
It is pretty incredible, and I think it's a testament to the. I mean, you guys know I love Bruce Pearl, and I think Bruce Pearl. Honestly, if I had to go back and I could wave a magic wand and change one thing in Tennessee athletics history, which is kind of a fun, hypothetical you guys can save for the summer, you can go back and change one thing. Other than Nick Saban maybe signing Drew Brees, which would not have been a bad choice for me because I think Alabama never gets Saban and then there's no dynasty there. I would find a way to keep Bruce Pearl as coach at Tennessee, because I think if Bruce Pearl had been able to stay as coach at Tennessee, he would have won multiple national championships there. And I think he would have a Pat Summitt-like legacy in men's college basketball, certainly in the SEC and for Tennessee. I mean, I just don't have any doubt at all about that. And the fact that Tennessee had to let him go in that stupid era. I mean, everything that Bruce Pearl was accused of is so insanely quaint now, right?
Yep.
Like, you had a junior over to your house when he couldn't come because he was a senior, and then you didn't want to tell the truth about it because you thought it was so dumb. And like when you look at what's going on now, the idea that you would suspend a guy for multiple years for that is just insane. So I'd keep Bruce Pearl. And then look, Nate Oats has built an incredible program at Alabama. Look, I know I ripped the Brandon Miller thing, and I still think that's deservedly a part of his legacy. But the actual X's and O's coaching and the overall talent that he has brought in, you can't deny. And it's part and parcel of what I think is probably Greg Sankey's best improvement to the SEC. And people are going to say, like, football matters. I get it. Like, the SEC's always been really good at football. Like, we all understand that, right? But for SEC basketball to be at an era where you're going to get double digits, and you could get 12 or 13 of the conference members in. It wasn't when Sankey was coming in, like, I think there was a 2-year SEC tournament team, or I know there was a 3-year. I mean, it was like SEC basketball didn't matter. And now I would argue with you that SEC basketball is way better than the NBA. Like, if you told me right now, hey, you want to watch a regular season NBA game, or do you want to watch SEC conference basketball game? I had no idea what's going to happen from one game to the next. I mean, Kentucky went on the road, shot lights out, beat Tennessee as a 10-point underdog on Wednesday of last week, or Tuesday of last week. And then they go on the road, at home against John Calipari's 1-6 Arkansas team, and they get blown out at home, right? I mean, you tell me how to explain that. Tennessee loses at home to Kentucky, comes back, beats Florida 64-44. That was the fewest points Florida had scored in an SEC game, I think, since like 1990. So they went from losing at home to a team I think they're way better than, to beating a team, Florida, by 20 at home that they lost to by 30 24 days ago. I mean, you tell me what's going to happen one game to the next in the SEC for basketball. I got no idea. And Tennessee, by the way, maybe should have beaten Auburn last week. Or the week before last. That was a hell of a game down the stretch, up 4 with like a minute and a half left. It gets crazy. But Tennessee was good enough to go on the road and potentially beat Auburn. And then they come back and lose to Kentucky. I mean, it's hard to forecast anything.
Clay, Super Bowl 59 this weekend. Tom Brady will be on the call with Fox. Ultimately, what's his future in the broadcast booth? I think we all agree that as great as he was on the field, he's very average in what he does right now, and maybe the expectation was him to be, incredible because he's been incredible at everything else. But what do you think ultimately Fox does with Tom Brady?
First of all, I'll leave tomorrow. I can't wait. I think it's coming off of what you guys all remember, the Sugar Bowl terror attack. I hope everybody is going to be able to keep New Orleans safe. I know you guys have spent a lot of time down there. It's a fabulous place, and I think assuming they can keep it super safe, it's an important kind of recovery for New Orleans, where terrorism has had such an impact, but also where tourism is just so important to the lifeblood of that city. So I hope it gets and stays safe, and I get down there tomorrow. I'm looking forward to being there through Sunday. Look, I think you look at this and ultimately Brady's in a spot where it's like, what does he want to do? The ratings are through the roof, right? I think we'll probably set close to an all-time record again for the most people to ever watch a football game on Sunday. That is pretty incredible. We had 57.7 million people watched the Bills Chiefs game. I don't know what the ceiling is for the NFL, but they keep pushing up higher against it. So I am one of those guys who thinks that the game itself matters so much more than whoever is announcing it, and that the NFL is on such a rise that I think any of the four of us could sit in a broadcast booth for the NFL and be an analyst, and I don't think it would drastically impact the overall number of people that want to watch the game, because the game and the players on the field tell the story, not the analyst. But I think Brady's in a spot that not many people in media get in, where what does he want to do, right? I mean, the guy's a billionaire. He's got kids that are growing. He's still not that old. He's 47, 48 years old, which in executive ranks is not considered to be that old. I think he can continue at Fox as long as he wants because he's that big of a superstar and he won 7 Super Bowls. And I think while he may not be as smooth as Greg Olsen or as as talented in the booth as Chris Collinsworth, he's so famous that I think putting him on a game actually does kind of add to the big game feel of it, particularly as you look forward. And what's the number one story of the NFL going to be? Can Patrick Mahomes surpass Tom Brady? And having Tom Brady call many of these Patrick Mahomes big game events, to me, sort of adds a historical patina, for lack of a better way to describe it, of what's going on between those two, which could turn into the greatest sports debate out there. I mean, remember, these sports debates can shift. You guys have done sports talk radio long enough to remember, hey, it's July. Who matters more, Brady or Belichick? You could have open phone lines and loaded lines for about a generation. That was one of the top sports debates out there. And now everybody's like, yeah, it's Brady. Belichick, although I'm intrigued to see how he does at UNC, clearly not a very good coach, relatively speaking, without Brady. And so I think the number one sports debate going forward is going to turn into Brady versus Mahomes, who's the best quarterback of all time. And having Brady call those games, I think makes that historical legacy even more powerful. So I ultimately think Brady's got the job as long as he wants it. I just, he's got a partial ownership stake in the Raiders. He's a billionaire. What does he want to do with his life? I think that's a luxury spot to be in. And look, I just say this, and this is kind of how I feel. And obviously I have a scintilla of the success of Brady in the world, but the ultimate luxury in life is not having to work. Regardless of what you do. I'm sure you got guys out there who own businesses or have sold businesses that are listening to us right now, and they know that feeling, right? To me, the best feeling in the world is not winning the lottery. It's winning the lottery and waking up the next morning and feeling like, hey, I want to keep doing what I'm already doing, because it means you've won life's lottery, because you really genuinely enjoy what you do. And I think that's the question for Brady, right? Does he get a charge out of it? Does he genuinely like it? Does he love it? He doesn't have to work for a paycheck. And that's something that 99.9% of people basically, or certainly 99.5% of people in America never have the luxury to experience. So I think it's really just a question of what does he want to do? What does he get the biggest charge out of? Because Fox is not going to move on from him. He's obviously getting paid very well to do it, but he's in a spot where he can walk away from any dollar figure. He doesn't have to do it for the money.
All right, he is the founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox as well. He is Clay Travis, at Clay Travis on social media. Thank you for the time, Clay. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, by the way, will do, and condolences to that Alabama women's softball team. I guess maybe this is a Jim Cramer effect. I brand Alabama women's softball school, and y'all aren't even good at that anymore.
That's right.
Jim Cramer, bye.
If you'll honk a horn and hit a cymbal or something, yeah. It's good TV back in the day. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. Clay Travis.
I appreciate you all. See you.
All right, see you.
As LT tells us about Michelson, real quickly, the Big 12, right after we were done, dropped their football schedule. And, of course, the one game we said we wanted to see, BYU and Arizona State.
Not getting that one?
They don't play each other.
Okay.
Of course.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, they don't play each other. The BYU schedule, I mean, it's they got Portland State and Stanford. We talked about this the other day, but in the Big 12, Colorado, West Virginia, Arizona, Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, Cincinnati, and the rivalry game with UCF because they're all alphabets at the end there for the Big 12. That's the one I wanted to see was Arizona State. And BYU.
You didn't know at this time last year what you really wanted to see from the Big 12.
Yeah.
BYU and Ames will be a big game.
Yeah.
Good point.
It turned out, what was that? What was we were talking about earlier? The Iowa State game they lost at home. Was it to Kansas State that knocked them out of the Big 12 championship?
Well, Iowa State was in the Big 12 championship.
That's right.
Yeah.
What was that last regular season game they played at home because they lost anyway?
Well,
don't worry about it. I'm just saying you didn't know those games are going to be as critical as they were.
205-969-8100, the number I called more than 2 decades ago. Ask for Amy, very important. Tell her the next round sent you. She is going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100. I got the procedure done more than 2 decades ago. I still have 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Hey, Tyler, I don't want to put any pressure on you. Do we have the pictures from the Super Bowl? Can we pull those up right now? I don't know how to really say the food service group, Sodexo, is that right?
I think that's right, Sodexo.
Okay. They handle the Superdome, and they were charged by for the Super Bowl of having some unique items on the menu just for the Super Bowl. Here's a couple of the items. This, by the way, is going to be an alligator sausage dog right here.
That seems tough.
It does seem like you have to break that up.
Yeah. I'd give it a run, though.
Yeah.
I'd give that one a run.
It's got a cheese sauce on it, but it's they're trying to make it more like a so a taste of where you're at.
Yeah, it seems chewy going down. It seems like Ring of Fire coming out.
They've got a soft shell crab po' boy and fried oyster po' boy that you'll be able to buy there.
It's going to be hard to handle with two hands.
I'll tell you what's going to happen is you're going to take one bite and those oysters are going to start falling out.
Oh, everything's going to fall apart.
Yeah, that's going to be a mess.
I feel like every time I order an oyster po' boy, I just end up eating the oysters.
Yeah, and not the bread.
Maybe I'll cut a little piece of bread to make a.
The bread's a battle, man, because any po' boys, the bread's it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
If you get good ones that know how to get the good bread and it's a soft bread, I like a po' boy. But I'm with you. If it's a hard bread po' boy,
I didn't realize I was watching, and I don't know, have you ever seen The Prophet, French movie 2009?
No, I haven't seen that one.
So it's a prison drama, but I didn't realize the French prisoners got a full baguette of bread with their meal. Yeah, so every meal they get a full baguette of bread.
That is a lot of bread.
Yeah. The cheapest suite was $420,000. And in that, you get this spread that includes the tomahawk.
Do you know how many tickets you get in the...
I don't. The story was about the food here. Tomahawk steak in the suites. That's pretty good-looking steak, Brent. I know they probably don't all look like that, but if that came off your grill, I know it would taste great.
Yeah,
right?
tomahawk. Well, yes. I was about to go steak snob on the tomahawk. I'm not going to do it because I don't want y'all to call me a steak snob.
You don't like it because of...
Well, I would just say the tomahawk in the restaurant, you pay a lot of money for that piece of bone right there that you don't eat because when they weigh that thing, they weigh the bone too.
That's it. It's more about the presentation and, oh, wow, that's a big steak.
I do like a bone-in steak because you get that meat right next to the bone right there that is so good.
Good flavor.
Yeah. I always want to pick it up and chew it off the bone at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't get the knife to get
I
it
know.
off
I hate to do that in a nice restaurant, but I do want to do it. Yeah.
I do it at home. But I'm not afraid to tell you that.
100%.
Sushi will be available to eat, and it'll be lined up LIX like that. So that's your sushi platter there. I like a good sushi. I don't know if I'd do it at a stadium, LT.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would. I don't know if I would do it at the Superdome.
Yeah. The seafood tower and platters, you'll be able to pick that up. That used to be always the, I don't know what it was about the 90s, but if you went somewhere and ordered the seafood tower appetizer, everyone in the restaurant seemed to think, oh, look at him showing off. He's got a little money over there.
I've never been a big seafood guy.
I don't like it unless we're down at the Bama or close to it. Drinks at the New Orleans known for its drink. They'll all come in these souvenir cups that you'll get to keep and take that home with you. And, the typical hurricanes and the stuff you get down at the Super Bowl. And then there's the desserts, which I always love. The dessert platter there, Brownie, it includes king cake, which I think is overrated.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah. And they've got some bread pudding bites and some other things. All that at the stadium, the Superdome this weekend. I'm surprised, by the way, and I know it's been renovated a couple of times, but that venue, remember, was built mid-'70s. And we've built domes in Seattle and Pontiac and
they're all gone.
And Atlanta and imploded them and built new stadiums in those places while the Superdome still exists. And I've never loved the sight lines.
The sight lines have been terrible. I haven't been to I guess the last game I went there, Stafford got hurt, so it was the 2023 season. So it's only been 2 years, but even all of these renovations, and it seems like they've done a renovation every other year. The sight lines have always been terrible. And it's a darker venue.
It seems
I've just never been a big fan.
It seems like they would play the Saints 2 years in Baton Rouge and blow that joint up and start over. Because if they built a really modern, nice SoFi-like, Mercedes-Benz Stadium-like stadium, they've already hosted 11 Super Bowls. Just imagine how many more they would continue getting. I mean, the place would pay for itself easily just with the Super Bowls. They get it all the time. They just play 2 years in Baton Rouge.
To me, again, I think it's the best city for a Super Bowl.
I mean, Baton Rouge has become SEC stadiums have all the amenities of NFL stadiums now. Like, you're not taking a downgrade to play in Baton Rouge. You've got all the suite space you need. The locker rooms are, I assume, are fine. Well, probably the visitor locker room would need some help. We've seen that, with Alabama and Auburn down there, but you could manage that.
It doesn't seem like a city full of cash, though. You know what I mean? As far as a government, I don't know why I think that. Like, I have a misinterpretation.
Well, I think they've had a corrupt government issue.
Yeah, but because of the media, I've got a misinterpretation of Detroit, I believe, of what it is now. Because when I see aerials, because the Lions have gotten so good, and when they're on Sunday Night Football, they always show aerials, and I always think to myself, well, that doesn't look like downtown Detroit the way I picture it at all. It looks like a cool place. I would go. That looks like a big restaurant area. I'd go eat there. I'd go here. I'd go there. It looked totally different than 8 Mile M&M image that I have of that area of the country. So I don't know. I just always wonder. I think New Orleans being poor.
Yeah. You get your you get your aerial view of New Orleans outside of, like, right in the perimeter.
Yeah.
You get your drone to cruise out to the hood a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to look different.
Well, I think they've had a corrupt government issue, but that's generally how you get stadiums built, right? You got enough corrupt politicians that they
somebody to scratch.
Somebody to scratch.
I mean, I would feel good about saying the crime is worse in New Orleans than it is in Detroit right now. Is that fair?
The way the aerials look, yeah. I don't know where I'd factor Birmingham into that.
Yeah.
But,
I think
we're closer to New Orleans, probably.
Unfortunately, yes.
I think we're top 10 when it comes to violent crimes.
I mean, everybody I talk to around the country, they always said, "You safe down there?"
I've got a little stat here. New Orleans murder rate is the nation's highest, with 64.7 per 100,000 people, while Detroit comes in at 40.7 per 100,000.
So what number is Detroit on this? Are they even top 10?
They're probably in the top 10. Let me find it.
New Orleans got a big lead right there.
Yeah,
only the Falcons can blow that lead. Sorry, Scott. That's a drive-by on Scott, Steve.
That's that's way back pre-pandemic to go back to hit you there, Scott. When we come back,
That surprised me.
Ryan Grubb, LT gives us in Brownie reaction to what Brock Huard told us yesterday about Ryan Grubb, and we'll get to our 4 downs. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA. Go check them out. 16 great locations around this wonderful part of the country in central Alabama. 205-930-0920. 930-0920. Visit urologycentersalabama.com. They handle all your prostate needs, all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between. Again, that number to schedule an appointment, 205-930-0920 or urologycentersalabama.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Back with you on the Next Round. Before we jump back into college football, spring training in baseball starts in a few days. And the folks at Yahoo sort of graded the offseason. And the Braves got a D for their offseason moves. Didn't really do a lot. Profar, their big pickup. You know, they lost a lot. Some contributors, not a lot of big names, but Max Fried when you were leaving, Darno, who was at times a big clutch hitter as the catcher position. He had so many big hits over the last few years. Acuna's coming off the injury. Strider's coming off the injury. So I guess as they write at Yahoo, positive, glass half full, that you didn't do a ton in the offseason. So you got a good roster, you believe, and you probably think Acuna and Strider are coming back sooner rather than later and going to be healthy. But in that division, just that division, the Phillies won it last year. Juan Soto now with the Mets. That's you're trying to play keep up. You're in the same league if you're going to get to the World Series with the Dodgers, who bought everybody.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I guess the Dodgers probably got an A.
But I didn't even glance, but
I don't know really how that really means anything. When you have those kind of resources, you should get an A every year, right?
Yeah.
If you're the Dodgers?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. If you need anything, I mean, there's maybe the year, Lance, where you don't need anything, right? You don't do anything in the offseason, but I'd still give you an A just because you didn't need anything. You didn't do something stupid, so you get an A.
Yeah, but you go out and you pay a guy like Evan Phillips $45 million to be just, a situational guy out of the pen.
$45 million.
Yeah.
I'll look at the grade, but the headline for the National League West says, can anybody even keep it close to the Dodgers?
What do you anticipate winning that division by?
A+, by the way, is the grade.
It'd have to be.
I mean, if they stay healthy, again, they weren't healthy last year and they won a World Series, second since 2020. I think they win 107 or 8 games.
Yeah. They ought to win the division.
They probably win the division by 15 games.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 to 15, yeah.
By the way, Braves, a ton of injuries last year too, so it'd be good to see if they were healthy this year. New pennant race cranks up soon as well with Ush and Emily Grace throughout the baseball season for you Braves fans out there on our platform. All right, to football we go, brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. Brought Huard on our show yesterday. Tell us about Hemphill, and we'll tell you about a little maybe hot and cold combination on the coaching side for Alabama, what Brock thinks could be happening.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Trust the name Birmingham is trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com. Just real quick, Dodgers win total is 103.5.
You had to go over under 103.5?
I think I'd take the over, though.
It's one of the heaviest I've ever seen.
I mean, but wouldn't you go over if you had to pick one?
Yeah, just put in perspective, the Braves right now, 93.5. So 10 games right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 103.5.
I'd definitely go over.
And you're chasing the record at that point, the Seattle Mariners, right?
Yeah.
Is it 111?
It seems to be. That's the number I was thinking in my head, was 111.
Yeah, I mean, the next closest is 93.5. It is the Braves and also the Yankees.
Yeah, the Mets have to be somewhere up there, right? You spend all that money on Soto.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets are 91.5.
Wow. So there's a 10-game gap between the Dodgers and the next closest win total?
Yep.
And I still think I'd go over.
I think I would too.
Even with a 10-game
Now,
gap.
no team got 100 wins last year, I don't think. But again, a lot of that was injuries. I mean, the Dodgers and the Braves both were banged up.
To college football we go. Brock Huard on our show yesterday, and Ryan Grubb's the new offensive coordinator coming to town, and he made a point about personality and how Kalen DeBoer, and we all agree with this, is probably one of the nicest human beings that have ever been a head coach of a major football program. Just a nice guy. And then here comes Ryan Grubb, who I've yet to have a conversation with. But Brock Huard knows him pretty well, and he says he may bring something to the coaching staff more than offensive X's and O's.
But from a personality standpoint, he can be gruff, he can be challenging, he can have a conviction, and in some ways he can play the bad cop to Kalen DeBoer's good cop. You guys have been around him. There's not a lot of bad cop in Kalen DeBoer, right? He is as salt of the earth as South Dakota as you're going to get. Ryan Grubb, he may have some of those same backgrounds and traveled some of the same paths, but he's got an ego to him. He's going to be on that practice field, and he is going to be speaking to those guys up front like an old O-line coach and strength coach does, which is where he cut his teeth before he became a coordinator. He's the one whose voice you will hear. He's the one that's got a demonstrative way about him that a Nick Sheridan just carries differently and a Kalen carries differently. I think you will feel an intensity and you will feel a passion, and you will hear Ryan Grubb in ways that you may not have heard a coach last year on that offensive side.
Boy, when Brock said that yesterday, guys, I thought to most of the comments in our chats during football season, and it felt like they all wanted Kalen DeBoer to choose somebody's ass last year at different times of the year, didn't they?
I really thought that was just because it's what they saw Saban do. And he's always going to be compared to Nick Saban, and there was an obvious difference when you watch their demeanors. Not saying one is right and one is wrong, but they are different for sure.
No, I agree. I think it was because when Alabama was struggling in a moment, you knew if that was the Alabama of old, Nick Saban would choose somebody's ass. And so I think, if this thing would have been an 11-1 season, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So I think people do want the bad cop, so to speak, in there. I've heard Ryan Grubb is a very interesting personality.
Ooh, interesting personality.
Yeah.
Can you expound upon that, or is that just...
He's very unique. Okay, so I don't even want to bring up this name because then there's going to be a connotation that really has nothing to do with Ryan Grubb.
So can we go full disclaimer? This has to be included in any video that goes out from here. There is nothing that connects this guy and Ryan Grubb whatsoever. You're just making...
Yeah. Just because he does it his own way, Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're talking about the coaching.
I'm talking about the coaching.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just disclaiming.
Yeah, no. The coaching. He is going to do it his way. Doesn't really care what other people think.
Yeah, it's out of the box play calling and scheming and things like that, and not always by the book.
Yeah, look, and
Brock told a great story. Go see the whole interview yesterday, but I had forgotten that Washington State, the year Washington made it to the national championship game. The season's on the line.
It was a Friday night game.
4th down, you're on your own 27, and they run a reverse.
As Zach pointed out, I think it was Zach that pointed this out in the chat room. Yeah, they did the same thing against Vanderbilt on the was that 4th and goal or a 2-point conversion against Vanderbilt?
2-point conversion.
Was it a 2-point conversion where they ran the reverse to Ryan Williams there down on the goal line?
Yep. 2-point conversion.
And that's without Ryan Grubb, obviously. That was Kalen DeBoer, and I'm not saying it was X's and O's the same exact play, but same concept. And that was a must-get for Alabama in that situation.
Chase Goodbread writes a really good story about Grubb and where Alabama's offense is at the Tuscaloosa News. But I just want to point this out because DeBoer came in, Grubb's coming in now off of that Washington team that went to the national championship game and lost. And listen, I know the talent that was in Tuscaloosa last year, and I know the talent that Nick Saban had for 17 years, best recruiter in the history of college football. Alabama coaching staffs were under Nick Saban. But that roster Kalen DeBoer put on the field last year was really talented. It was not what Nick Saban usually puts on, and it wasn't as good offensively as what Ryan Grubb last time he coached in college was. That team that went to the final game in college football when Ryan Grubb was the coordinator and DeBoer was the head coach had 3 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and a third-rounder on offense.
Say that again.
3 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and a third-rounder on offense. 6 guys in the first 3 rounds. 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 in the third. Now think about the offense that he had last year that is going to be in this draft.
He's going to have a first-rounder maybe in Tyler Booker. I think Booker will be a first-rounder.
Yep. And that's probably it in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's it. That is.
Not immediately, but eventually, you could get a Ryan Williams.
That was the immediate draft.
That was the very next draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was veterans that went to the NFL draft right after that.
That is 100% it.
Yeah,
yes.
Those were key veteran contributors that went straight to the NFL draft off that team.
Almost anyone that was holding out Jalen Milroe first-round hope probably gave it up in Mobile.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he could earn his way back in there.
Yeah, maybe he goes third round, second round, and becomes a stat. But there's not that. Now, Ryan Williams eventually will be.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would imagine at some point last year, privately, they never said it publicly, but I bet somewhere privately, Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan and Coach Shepard and those guys probably were in a room somewhere kicking back a Powerade and said, "Whew, we don't have the same talent we had."
Well, I tell you, when I came to Alabama, I thought I'd have a better roster than this.
Well, our receivers were better, weren't they? Yeah.
Look, I don't know.
And I do think there was something to that. I think this was I don't know if it was Georgia level, because Georgia didn't seem to have that skill this year, but it seems like this was the least amount of skill that we've seen on a Nick Saban team or a Alabama team since Nick Saban's first year, maybe.
Think about it. They brought the starting center and the second best receiver on the team with them.
Yeah, and Brailsford and Bernard.
Yeah.
They brought them with them.
And at times the best receiver, with all due respect to Ryan Williams, there were times where Bernard was probably the better receiver.
Yeah, the one you would trust.
The one you would
More
trust.
consistent
Yeah,
late in the
Williams
year.
is the bigger explosive guy, obviously.
Williams became a focal point of defensive coordinator.
Which helped Bernard.
That's right.
Yeah, and Bernard was a guy that didn't have the drops, and Williams did.
Yeah.
I would, and I saw this in the chat room yesterday when we were talking about this and going back and looking at the video that Scott and Little T sent out from the Brock interview, just reading some of the comments there on YouTube. There's a lot of, but this guy succeeded with Michael Penix. Talking about Grubb. And the only thing I would say with that is Grubb has been successful every step of the way. He's been with DeBoer all along the way, and he's had success there.
From Sioux Falls.
Yeah. To Fresno State, which Jake Haener.
Oh, Jake Haener was really good.
By the way, NFL, has he started? He hasn't started in the NFL,
I don't know if he started the game for the Saints or not. Maybe.
Yeah. Hell, everybody started for the Saints.
He did, didn't go well, but he started.
Well,
I think.
It's the Saints. There's a reason they're drafted where they're drafting, right? Penix did not come to them as the quarterback you're going to see with the Falcons. Far from it, in fact. You got to give him credit for that. Now, maybe Roma Dunze came to them as the receiver you're seeing in the NFL. I'm not going to argue that one. Maybe he showed up like a Ryan Williams. I'll take your word for that one. I wasn't paying attention. It was Washington.
Yeah.
But I saw Michael Penix play, and I saw him play really well for 1 year at Indiana when DeBoer was there, and they get hurt and completely fall off.
Yeah.
He did not go to Washington as the guy you see with the Falcons. They've got to get some credit for that development in him.
I would also say Roma Dunze or whomever else. I assume they didn't go to Seattle High or.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see them. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying they had to go recruit those guys.
Yeah. Well, they had to recruit them, but I'm just saying Roma Dunze might have shown up as a first-round draft pick. I don't know.
You don't, but
Michael
I'm
Penix
saying,
did not.
I'm just saying you don't walk out the door at the University of Washington in Seattle and walk around and find On3 5-star recruits.
You do not.
Or guys that turn into first-round picks falling out of trees. So talent evaluation, pretty good on that coaching staff, and they're having to do that now with GM Courtney Morgan as they continue to work the roster change in Tuscaloosa. Go see the whole interview with Brock yesterday. It's on our YouTube channel and also Apple, Spotify, wherever you get our podcasts and our replays. It is time for 4 Downs today. It is brought to you by the great folks at Slice Pizza. The great locations, 5 of them here in the central Alabama area.
Yeah, stop in, see our friends, the Bajalia Brothers, created by the late Jeff. His brothers, Jason and Chris, continue to celebrate his legacy. As Dunaway said, 5 great locations for you. The original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location right there in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, you can always go online. Go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More wins in 2025. Colorado or Shedeur Sanders, wherever he ends up? And I know it's a really difficult question until we know where Shedeur ends up.
Does Shedeur have to start to get the wins or just the team he's on?
No, he's got to start.
No.
I'm just going to assume he's going to go to the Raiders. So Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly.
Shedeur Sanders.
What pick do they have?
6.
6? So you think he'll be the second quarterback off?
I do, yeah.
And Scott is showing us very quickly, by the way, these schedules just came out, showing us the Colorado schedule for
Georgia Tech. I'm going to guess that's either it's going to be Coastal Carolina.
Might need some help on this, you're telling me?
The chicken.
No, is that UTSA maybe?
Maybe
is
the
it
Roadrunners, maybe. Houston, Wyoming, BYU, TCU, Iowa State, Utah, Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State. I'm going to say Colorado ends up 6-6. I'll take Colorado.
Wow, whoa,
I'll take Colorado.
Yeah, I think I would go 4-8. I did this exercise last year. It didn't work out. But, again, you had the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, and you had Shedeur Sanders. I mean, look, for Brent Key, that's a game you got to win in Boulder, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Georgia Tech will be the better team. I don't know if they'll be favored, but they'll be the better team.
Yeah, I think best case 6-6, 17-game season. Does he start the entire season? Probably not.
By the way, did y'all determine? I was looking it up. That's the Delaware Blue Hens in week 2.
The Blue Hens. I knew.
Yeah. That's a win.
It should be.
Yeah. Good tradition. They still wear the winged helmets.
Yeah,
like Michigan?
I think so. The old Michigan winged helmet.
I think I'm going to go Shedeur here.
Yeah, I think I'll go Shedeur as well.
I'm going to go Colorado. I know they will be starting in their games, all 12 of them.
That's true.
I don't know how many Shedeur will end up starting. So
Second down.
What happens first? Jackson Dart starts a playoff game, or Lane Kiffin actually wins a playoff game as a head coach?
I would go Lane Kiffin winning a playoff game as head coach. He'll be, it's most likely the playoff game he gets. He would be a home or road team in that first round against, a Big 12 or Big 10 school. So I'll take him to win one before Jackson Dart.
I will too.
Starts one and just starts a game, period?
Just starts a game.
Yeah.
So not playoff game.
No, starts a playoff game.
Oh, starts a playoff game?
Yeah.
I'll take the run. I'll take Lane.
Kiffin. I mean, he's got to get drafted, make a team, and work his way to starter.
Yeah, I would love to see where Jackson Dart falls. Yeah. Does Pittsburgh take him in the second round?
Yeah. So give me Lane Kiffin.
I guess I'll lean Lane Kiffin. Don't feel great about it. I just don't know if Jackson Dart's ever going to be a starting quarterback in the league.
That's my point.
Yeah, so I think I would go Kiffin as well.
Third down.
There's a chance he's drafted in the first round. And you say you don't know if he's going to be a starter, but he's drafted in the first round. He's starting somewhere.
Yeah.
You're not buying that he'll be drafted in the first round.
Yeah, I'm not buying that yet. Who wins an NBA championship first? Going back to the trade, is it Luka or is it Victor Wembanyama?
Well, I mean, it's helped. Luka's helped out now that he's moved to a franchise that it seems like throughout the history of the NBA in decades they win championships.
But with Wembanyama now getting De'Aaron Fox,
no, that's what I'm saying. San Antonio's done that too, though, right?
Yeah.
So Luka's in a better situation. He's gone to a place that was won a lot. Wemby's already in a place that has won a lot over the years. So this becomes a more difficult question. I just think it means too much to the league and to the city of Los Angeles. I think the Lakers win one before San Antonio wins one. So I'll go Luka.
I'll lean Luka.
I think I would too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Not confident.
Yeah, I mean, I think Luka and the Lakers could make a decent run this year. I think Victor and De'Aaron next year. But I'll lean Luka.
Yeah, I'll go Luka.
And that probably will be post LeBron, and then bringing in a couple other big parts for Luka to be around. It won't look like this team with the Lakers, but I'll go Lakers with Luka.
4th down.
What happens first? Alabama or Auburn plays for a national championships in basketball, or Alabama or Auburn wins a postseason game and a 12-team playoff? And obviously you got the jump start this year.
Yeah, boy, 2 good teams this year.
Yeah, this is, that's the next frontier, right? Both programs have been to Final Fours now. Yep. Now they got to go to the Final Four and win a game.
Play for the championship. Boy, Auburn was so close.
Yep.
Double dribble.
Alabama was fairly close. It wasn't just a single
it
call.
Didn't come down to a double dribble.
Yeah. It was a sort of a cheap foul call late in that game, too. It wasn't one bad call. There were 2 on Auburn. Against Auburn.
Oh, against Auburn. I thought you were going to say against Alabama. I was like, a little more than that, Joe.
No. I'm just saying that the Auburn, it wasn't just the double dribble call. There was a foul that shouldn't have been called.
Win a college football playoff game?
Yep.
I think I'd go still with football here.
I mean, it's going to be actually, forget what ESPN percentages said, it's going to be against the odds that one of them doesn't get there this year. And if they get there this year, I'd like them to win a game in the Final Four.
Yeah, I think I would go football too.
I think I'm going to stick with football.
Because that means one of these in-state teams this year has got to win 5 games.
That's right. They got to get back to the Final Four, which they've each done once in the history of basketball.
That's right, and advance now.
And then they got to win a game when they get there. But I'm just saying, if they get there, these 2 teams are good enough to win that they get there. Alabama sort of overachieved last year. I feel like Auburn overachieved the year they went to the Final Four.
Oh, they both did.
These 2 teams are much better on paper
than
either one of their Final Four teams.
Correct.
I'll take basketball.
Now, I'll go football, but obviously I'm hoping it happens this year in basketball.
Yeah.
Hoping I'm wrong right away.
You hope they play for a national championship.
That's right. I'd love to see Auburn versus Alabama in the national championship game. How great would that be?
And that is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, stop in for lunch or dinner. Pick up a slice and a salad today at one of those 5 locations. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home to check out that entire menu with the specialty pizza, local ingredients, fantastic, unique pizzas from the soul pie to the Bajaga special. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
All right, so On3 Sports has put out, for this upcoming football season, the 10 best coaches in college football, however you define that. Without looking at it, on the dry erase board when we come back, just jot down who you think the 10 best coaches in college football are right now, and let's see how close we can get the Miami Dolphins. Is
I'm going to have to. No, I'm going to have to finally erase this. My daughter was up here one day and drew this for me, and it has not been erased. But you're going to make me erase it to do my top 10 coaches.
No.
It's going to. Jim, you're going to have to tear this Band-Aid off at some point. Football season will be here before you know it.
I'm actually planning on buying in
Jim, just did it.
I hate that.
Well, don't tell my daughter.
Look what you made him do, Joe.
I know.
Look what you made me. That's another Taylor Swift song, right?
Look what you made me do.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dallas Goddard. The 10 best coaches, and then we'll look at the On3 thing together. All right?
All right.
When we come back, that'll be part of the conversation. That'll be in our McCurry Spotlight, and we'll do a lot more. Still to come here. 1 more hour to go. Game night for Auburn, Oklahoma, #1 Auburn, 8 o'clock. All the coverage on our platform. Last night, big win for AK and UAB. Basketball season in full throttle. We talk a little college football next on TNR.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You
could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Roback. Go to Roback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays. It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. You can't beat Sterling and the crew down there. You're getting ready for the Super Bowl this weekend. You can't be in the Superdome to try all the great food they're going to have inside the stadium, so why don't you get some local fare here and enjoy it for your Super Bowl party? It's champyschicken.com. Sterling will have it ready for you on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Pick it up. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to eat it there and then go home and watch the game in the evening. Go have a great lunch after church. You do that every Sunday there, and then enjoy all your Super Bowl Sunday. Champy's world famous fried chicken. The chicken is brined overnight, cooked to order, piping hot when it comes out. All the great sides, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It is Champy's world famous fried chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Basketball happening everywhere tonight. A little bit later on this segment, we will hear from Nate Oats, who was at the Tipoff Club yesterday. A couple of thoughts about a big game on the schedule coming up here in a moment. Can you get the spotlight ready? Our spotlight is going to be On3's top 10 ranking of the college football coaches coming into the season. List I was bemoaning, and I have not seen their list yet. I was bemoaning trying to figure out the top 10 coaches in college football in the break, saying it used to be a lot easier when you had Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh in college ranks.
You know, one thing that made it difficult is
when Lincoln Riley used to be good.
Yeah, Saban and Harbaugh leaving the coaching ranks, or leaving the college coaching ranks in one case.
Yep.
And also adding the data point of just making a playoff. Like, I noticed with some of the guys I put in here, whether or not they made the playoff in year one kind of affected it for me. And some guys that are probably higher than they would be in a 4-team era because the playoff helped them go a little bit deeper in the season. So the playoff changed as much as anything to me.
Oh, Brown, you're preaching, my friend.
Preach.
I believe you, man.
I said that during my pastor's sermon this weekend, Dunaway.
You said it out loud?
I did. My wife kind of nudged me.
Oh, no. She nudged you to do it or not do it?
Well, she knew. When she knew my man George Wright started down a path, she knew that I'm a big believer in. So she knew something was coming. So I was already getting the elbow in the side, and I just gave it. I didn't say it real loud.
He was preaching about how she should follow your lead, and really,
of course,
yeah.
I thought that'd go without saying no.
Yeah.
No, he was preaching on something. I just said preach like that. You know, people around me heard me probably, but that's okay. I didn't care.
I mean, I'm
showing support for my pastor.
We're usually very quiet in the Methodist Church, but occasionally you just gotta speak out.
Y'all get an amen every now and then when Maggie says something. Did she ever get claps?
Especially after some good music, we'll get a
little clapping.
Amen, or that was. We clap all the time.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. It's almost like waiting for the song to end. Are they going to hit the harp one more time? No. Okay. Yes. I got to clap. Of course, my daughter's singing a lot too, so I got to be the first.
Oh yeah, standing ovation for that.
All right. Before we look at the On3 list, I want to see our list first, and let's go. We'll just go around. Brown, LT,
all right, I'll go.
I usually have the worst list, so I'll save it for the last.
So I went Kirby Smart number 1, Ryan Day number 2, and Day's another one of those guys. Well, he's won a national championship, but the guy has done nothing but win games, and he finally won the national championship.
I love when I leave a guy off. Okay, go ahead.
You left Ryan Day off?
No, I didn't leave Ryan Day off.
Okay.
I'm just looking down at your list to make sure I didn't leave anybody off. And
it got hard after that, by the way. That's what she said. Dan Lanning, 3rd. Steve Sarkisian, 4th. I still put Kalen DeBoer 5th, and I know this is going to elicit quite the response.
Yeah, one bad year.
One bad year. The guy has done nothing but win games and has coached for a national championship, which is more than Sarkisian has done or Dan Lanning has done, by the way. Marcus Freeman at 6, just coached for the national championship. I still put James Franklin 7th. He never wins big games. Dabo Swinney, I probably got too low, but I mean, I think that program has fallen off. If he were in any other conference, he doesn't make the playoff this year, but he did. So I'll put him 8th. Brian Kelly has lost steam at LSU. I still put him 9th. Lane Kiffin, I got 10. I regret probably not putting Josh Heupel in there somewhere. That was a guy that I struggled with. 9, 10, I could put Heupel in there and bump Kelly or Kiffin, and I wouldn't argue much. But that's my top 10 right there.
Okay, I like the list.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you who I left off. Shockingly, who I left off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Kalen DePaul.
We're pretty close. I've got Kirby at number 1. I mean, that's kind of obvious.
Yep.
Number 2, I've got Ryan Day. I mean, just did win a national championship. The winning percentage is incredible.
Dabo way higher than me.
I got Dabo number 3 just based on the fact that he's won multiple national championships and he just won an ACC championship and was back in the college football playoff.
I mean, but truthfully, in fairness, though, you've ridden Dabo pretty hard
Oh,
over
yeah.
the years.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised Lance has him higher than me.
I got number 4, Marcus Freeman. He is kind of the flavor of the month, but look, he's done an incredible job there. Number 5, I've got Brian Kelly. I'm always high on Brian Kelly. It's not like it's been a disaster. I mean, he's done a pretty good job at LSU. Obviously not the job he did at Notre Dame. I've got Kalen DeBoer at number 6. I'm right there with you. It doesn't look as good because of this past year, but I fully expect him to bounce back.
I mean, when you look at his record as a whole, he's had one bad year as a head coach, and it was every time. It was every time.
I am
Can
still,
we fix this in the offseason?
Still waiting for Sark to win a big game, but I do have him at number 7. Dan Lanning, same situation as Sark at number 8. He's done a really good job of the program.
You and I swapped Dabo and Dan Lanning.
James Franklin at 9, still waiting on him to win some big games. And then I've got Lincoln Riley at 10. I know he is losing steam.
Bad.
But what he did at Oklahoma, look, he's only been a head coach for 8 years. And 5 years he's played for a conference championship. 4 years he's won one. 4 years he's been to college football playoffs. And not a lot of guys have done that.
Yeah,
so.
the losing steam category, Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley. I mean, both those guys losing steam. They got to turn it around at some point or neither. I didn't have Lincoln in mind. I did have Kelly. Lance had them both.
It was Lincoln Riley or Lane Kiffin there.
Yeah.
But again, Lane's he's done a great job at Ole Miss, but what has he done nationally?
The On3 list here in just a second, but I too went Smart and Day. I love me some Dabo. Freeman ahead of Dabo. I thought what Freeman has been doing has been crazy. Sark is 5. Kelly is 6. Big year coming up for him. I forgot Dan Lanning. Nobody loves Dan Lanning more on the show than I do. But I was running, I don't know how you guys did it with yours. I was running through the map and jotting down names, and then I put them in the list, and I forgot the Pacific Northwest.
Well,
I didn't go up there and
so he went from off the list to 7.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
I knew where he was going to be on my list when I jumped him in there. I was like, I had to do some rearranging, bump some people down. Franklin, DeBoer, and then here I went one of these offensive coaches. But I love me some Jeff Brom, what he's doing at Louisville. That program scheduled the first year, not too bad last year. I think it's a big year for Louisville coming up too. But Kiffin, Heupel, any of those guys in the transfer spot at 10. Dillingham did a really good job this year. Can he back that up?
There's no chance I could put Dillingham on there after 1 year.
No, I know. I thought Dion did a good job. Nobody had Dion on there.
But how different is it if you just had your top 5 to start a program right now? Guys you could hire.
Well, that's a different list.
It's a different list altogether.
Yeah, but Smart would be one.
I mean, Freeman would be at the top of the list.
Freeman's top of the list if I'm starting my list.
I'd go Smart, Freeman, Sark.
Lanning.
DeBoer
I'd have Lanning up there.
Yeah. And DeBoer, yeah.
But you don't like Lanning as much as we do.
Yeah, I would have DeBoer in front of Lanning. Would you have Lanning in front of DeBoer?
Age would be a factor, but DeBoer's not that old.
No, I've just seen
DeBoer head-to-head with him, and DeBoer has played for a national championship, and Lanning has not, so yeah.
I mean, Lanning has dropped on my list because he makes some choices in some big games that
you're right.
That you're like, huh?
And then, in the biggest moment of his career thus far, they're the overall number 1 seed and get blasted in their first game.
Not just lose it.
They didn't get upset by Ohio State. They got absolutely run out of Pasadena by Ohio State.
Seemed unprepared, and the moment was too
That's
big
right,
for
yeah.
them. Okay.
What has to happen on this list for there to be a different number 1 a year from now?
I'd say if Ryan Day can close the deal again this year and Kirby is kind of mid the way they have been, as the kids say.
If Marcus Freeman got Notre Dame back to the national championship game, win or lose.
If he won one, I
don't know if I jump over Kirby.
I think these guys, Sark, DeBoer, Marcus Freeman.
If Dabo gets
if
the Clemson's good, if Dabo wins another
and Ryan
one,
Day, I think those 5. If those 5, any of those 5 win a national championship, I think they go to number 1.
Wow, over Kirby.
Yep.
I mean, Kirby just won the SEC championship.
No, I get it.
Can I just make this point? And I think this is factually correct. That if we had not expanded to a 12-team playoff, Ryan Day would have been fired this year.
And I've got him number 2.
Yeah.
No, I told you the playoff changed my list because Ryan Day's not number 2.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, what the impact a national championship does, and that's why I believe if Dabo, Freeman, DeBoer, Sark, who was my other one? Oh, I think Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
I think Brian Kelly could, not number 1. He could be number 2 on the list.
But think about it. I mean, the mood and where everything was with Ohio State after that loss, if this was old school 4-team, 2-team, just go to the bowl game and pick a champion, Ryan Day would have been fired. And now he's number 2 on this list. He's a national champion. He sleeps well at night.
Of course, he's lost his whole staff.
So crazy.
He sleeps well in a very quiet office.
Back to that, I mean, Nick Sirianni, people were talking about him getting fired in September. Now he's in another Super Bowl, 2 or 3 years.
I'm surprised you didn't have Coach Sig on there.
It's too premature.
Yeah, really good job that
I need him to back it up.
Michael, an Alabama fan, says, I miss the day when my head coach would lead this argument. All his assistants would follow on the list.
Yeah.
There was that day,
Yeah, so, it's Smart and Day. They agree. They go Sark 3 at On3 Sports. DeBoer still 4th.
Okay. Again, I mean, when your bad year is you were the first team out of the playoff and, you were a 9-3 regular season team and the first team out of the playoff, and that's your bad year, I'd say that's a pretty good coach. If that's considered your worst year as a head coach, that's a pretty good coaching record there.
Dan Lanning is 5 on their list. Marcus Freeman is 6. Dabo Swinney down to 7. Brian Kelly is 8. James Franklin 9. Josh Heupel is in at number 10.
I struggle with Heupel.
Yep.
I mean, he's made the playoffs. He's had 2 pretty good years at Tennessee. 2 of his years have been pretty good there.
Yep.
He has
would have been in a playoff in 21 if it had been a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, I mean, and for what this is worth, he has made the Tennessee-Alabama game a rivalry again. A lot of coaches couldn't do that at Tennessee.
So that's our McCurry Spotlight today, brought to you by our friends at McCurry. I think we never played the Open.
We did not.
That was on me, Tyler, my fault. Tell us about McCurry.
Yeah, it's the McCurry Van and Car Van and Truck. I can't even do it without the Open there.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We've already done it, but please hit the closer now, please. That was the
Football Spotlight.
Rent for McCurry. McCurry Van and Car Rental, local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of passenger vans, vehicles, trucks, SUVs, cars. They make it easy to rent in and out fast. Locations throughout Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest at Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, 256-559-1003, or McCurryRentals.com.
And our friends at Odie's, almost trivia night again tomorrow night.
Yeah, Odie's Tavern, great place to get in for lunch or dinner. The original location in Lakeview, the original location in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Stop and see Will Haver and that great staff. Enjoy the incredible food from Rodney Davis, award-winning wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, including the Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Again, Birmingham Institution, 2 locations, Odie's Tavern.
A new Bama and Bourbon out later today. LT and Aaron Suttles will drop some knowledge with National Signing Day in football coming up. Ryan Grubb coming back to join the coaching staff. That Yay, Alabama was the first to report, so you'll get Aaron Suttles and LT breaking down all that and some basketball. Nate Oats yesterday at the Tipoff Club.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Rob Pelinka in that video. It looks like he's dressed up as Fonzie for Halloween. What in the crap?
It looks like he's leaning into the Rob Lowe character there with that leather jacket.
If you told me out of context that's Rob Lowe, I would believe it.
Well, I mean, you would think you would flip. You look at Luka at 25, has got a
like
Mr. Rogers sweater on.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's almost got like a Timex watch on.
And Rob Pelinka,
and he's just aloof. And then, Pelinka looks like he is.
A leather jacket, sleeves pulled up.
And a black T-shirt under it, and his hair is slicked back. I mean, I swear it looks like, oh, guys, sorry. We were having the Happy Days Day here at the Lakers organization.
And
we had to do this press conference.
He's not even letting Luka talk. But Pelinka is the 50-year-old dude that's in shape, and half his age is Luka, the international superstar that doesn't want to put anything tight on that body.
I wonder if he's got Skims on underneath there, holding that gut in.
Hey, Luka.
Yeah, he looks skinnier than he does in a Mavericks uniform.
Luka has gotten destroyed on this show today.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Nate Oats.
Sorry, Jim.
He's at the Birmingham Tip-Off Club yesterday from our friends at ABC 3340. Clay asked us this. Did you guys ever think that you'd have a 1-2 matchup in college basketball? Nate was talking about the next home game Alabama plays is a week from Saturday against Auburn. Here's Nate on that game.
The 2 games, Auburn versus Bama, may be the 2 most anticipated regular season college basketball games in the entire country this year. Provided how the next month goes, the last game at their place may have more ramifications or implications on that regular season game than any game of college basketball this year. So for fans in the state of Alabama, I think we've got this thing up at a pretty high level. So happy to be a part of it, happy to come up here and talk to the Tip-Off Club in Birmingham. Healthy rivalry with Auburn. We're both pushing each other to be better, which I think makes us both better. So it's good. We got to get better to catch them because they're pretty dang good this year.
Yeah, how about that? Got to be better to catch them. The most anticipated game, the one at the end, if it works out. So let me ask you, what does Alabama have to do? And I know they're only a game back or a half game, however you do that. After tonight, Auburn win, it'll be a game. Auburn will be a game ahead. I don't like doing half games when we're all going to play 18. There's no rain.
Yeah, you're going to make it up at some point.
Yeah. So in the loss column, Bama's a game back. What does Alabama have to do to stay in the SEC championship race?
Well, I think they've got to win this game on the 15th, because if you don't win this game on the 15th, you now have 2 conference losses, and presumably at that time Auburn would have 0. I don't know if they're going to lose to Oklahoma or Florida at home. And you're staring at the end of the season having to go to Neville Arena, and if you can't beat them in Coleman, beating them in Neville is going to be even more difficult. And you're going to need Auburn to drop a game at some point between the 15th and the final game of the year, which is only a handful of games. And your most difficult part of your schedule is after the Auburn game to the end of the year. So I don't know that there's a path for Alabama if they can't win this game on the 15th.
Yeah, I mentioned that I think Auburn might be an underdog in 2 games moving forward. Alabama could be underdogs in
5,
3 or 4.
Yeah. Alabama could play really good and end up with 3 losses.
I mean, the schedule is just so much more difficult. And I still don't know if Alabama's going to be unscathed going into that game against Auburn.
That's the key. Here's Nate Oats. More LT, tell us more after you listen to Nate Oats talking about the game that's a week before Saturday. Oh no. What happens before that game? You've got to play some more games, and they're not at home.
I don't think you can look at Auburn, home, Auburn away. You can't do anything but literally look at the next game, prep for it, look at practice today. How do we get better today on what we got to get better at, and just let everything fall where it may. I think when you start looking down the road at some of that stuff, you get tripped up, and, you think the last game at Auburn is going to be a big one, and all of a sudden you don't take care of some in front of it, and it has no meaning anymore because regular season's already determined. So I don't think we can look ahead like that as a team, as a program. I think the fans can look forward to it, and why I'm talking to you guys, I'm somewhat talking to the fans through you guys. So, but as a team, we can't really look at that.
Yeah, so ABC 3340 with that.
Yeah,
Arkansas at Texas, LT. How are those two teams
Arkansas
playing right now?
fans are not going to go away. I mean, look, they just won in Rupp, so that's going to be an excited bunch in Fayetteville on the 8th when Alabama plays primetime on ESPN. I think Alabama's going to be a favorite in that game. Then they go to Austin to take on a Texas team. You heard Stephen Pearl say Texas playing really good basketball right now under Rodney Terry. I still think they'll be a slight favorite there, but based on percentages, I think they lose one of those 2 before the Auburn game.
Do you think Auburn to be undefeated? Do you think they lose to – because Troy, an Auburn fan, says he worries about Florida at home right before the Bama game.
Yeah, I think Auburn is going to – I mean, obviously they're 17.5-point favorite. It would be a
major shocker
upset
tonight. Yeah.
I think they will end up beating Florida, and then I could see Alabama lose one of these 2 games, either in Fayetteville or Austin, and then beat Auburn.
Yeah. I would like for it to more than 1 versus 2. I'd love to see 1 versus 2. And it's going to require Clemson to upset Duke on Saturday for that to happen. More than that, and Alabama and Auburn take care of their business too. More than that, if there were a way, and it would be miraculous for Alabama to get to this situation, it would require them, in my opinion, to win the 15th and then to play some tremendous basketball at the end of that stretch. If there were a way that last regular season game were for the SEC regular season championship.
Winner take all.
And you're probably playing for the overall number 1 at that point. I mean, imagine that now at Neville Arena, winner take all, SEC championship, and overall number 1. We talk about Bruce Pearl and Nate Oats taking this rivalry to another level. You let them play a game for the overall number 1.
That'd be Duke, North Carolina.
That'd be Duke, North Carolina. That's about the only thing you could compare it to.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kentucky and Louisville play too early for it to be that, right? Ever. Yeah. For those 2 teams.
And it was always just 1 game.
Maybe back in the day a Kentucky-Florida game reached that when Donovan and Tubby Smith and Donovan and John Calipari had it going. But, yeah, Duke, North Carolina is about the only thing you could think of.
Yeah, it's insanity. And I think because of the TV contracts now with ESPN, ABC, and the SEC, I believe when we get to that February 15th week that the promotional arm of ESPN will promote that Auburn-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa like it is Duke, North Carolina. I think.
You mean in Auburn?
The first one, February 15th, because game day is going to be there. I bet you get the promotional arm of ESPN promoting that Auburn-Alabama all week long. You'll see commercials and on Get Up and all that all week long. All right, a little basketball there thanks to our friends at ABC 3340. The show today being brought to you by the great folks at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher.
New York Butcher Shop got a couple of things coming up. You got Super Bowl this week. If you want to pre-order some great food for Super Bowl, they've got that Boston butt sale available for pickup on Friday or Saturday of this week. They're only $39.99 each. It's smoked, fantastic food right there. They also have hamburger patties. Fresh ground certified Angus beef, ready to cook, plus dips, local craft beers, fine wine, smoked chicken wings, rare quality, well done service. All of this for Super Bowl 59. You can call, reservations only, especially for the Boston butt, the smoked Boston butts. You can call the Cava Heights location 205-970-7300, the Greystone location 205-703-8825. Make sure you tell Jim and that great staff the next round sent you. Again, the New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
I've saved it until this point in the show.
Oh, boy. I thought of Lance right away.
I thought it would begin and end in L.A., but it did not. It's not going to. It doesn't look like. Scott sent this to me. Oh my God, it felt like it was sunrise when my phone buzzed and Cooper Kupp tweet was coming from Forrester here.
Yeah. I almost sent it to the group text, but I didn't do that.
I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in L.A. Cooper Kupp. It goes fast, 2017 draft. He's done a lot. What do you think of the decision from the front office?
I mean, it sucks, but look, I mean, just signed a 3-year deal last year, and, you know, the cap hits are just are too much for the, I don't want to say lack of production, but, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you've got a new number one in Puka, and he's kind of been that guy for a year and a half now. And, you know, go back to week 1 against Detroit in that loss in overtime. You know, Cooper Kupp was targeted 21 times. He only was targeted 10 or more times 3 other games this year. He has been a guy that has battled injuries throughout his career. I hate it because he's absolutely one of my favorite Rams of all time.
I was going to ask that. Your all-time favorite Ram is who?
Maybe Eric Dickerson.
I thought it was going to be Dickerson. Yeah.
Donald,
but Kupp,
Marshall Faulk.
You get to Kupp pretty quick, don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
Top 5.
Kupp is probably my favorite receiver. Isaac Bruce would be right there.
Okay.
But, man, I mean, number 10, just the expectation coming in, a third-round guy out of Eastern Washington, I don't think there was much. The guy doesn't have top-end speed, but maybe the best route runner we've seen over the last 5 years. I mean, it's sad, but it's a business. I had a Rams fan reach out to me this morning. He's like, all beat up about this. And I trust Les Snead. I used to question what the general manager did, but since the Matthew Stafford move and effing all the picks, he's got it right. I mean, you look at what they've done with lack of picks over the last couple of years. I mean, they've got some of the best young talent in football. And, you know, if they believe Cooper needs to move on, I hate it. But, you know, it was a good run.
He's missed 6, 12, and 18 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it's right.
Well, and you go back 2018, I still think the Rams would have beaten New England in that Super Bowl if Cooper Kupp doesn't, you know, tear his Achilles earlier that season.
The silver lining maybe to keep him as a Ram is if no team wants him at 31 because they're going to be on the hook for a $20 million deal this year, $19.85 million the next year. They inherit the back end of that contract. So it's got to be somebody that, I don't know if he has a no-trade clause. Do you even have that in football? It sounds like they want to work with him on a place to go, but you're not going to send him to an NFC team that could keep you from getting to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Cardinals don't get him.
I don't
49ers ain't going to get him.
I don't think they'll go in division. I think what Philadelphia and New York did this past year is going to keep a lot of people away from that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one thing Cooper Kupp would be untouchable in division.
Yeah, I think even NFC, they'll try to trade him to a nice city in the AFC.
So this doesn't really surprise me. It hurts, but it doesn't surprise me because before the deadline earlier this season, I think behind the scenes, Les Snead was trying to talk to Pittsburgh about possibly getting Cooper Kupp to Pittsburgh as a Steeler, and I think that still might be in play.
Where did he play college ball? Eastern
Washington, yeah.
Do you know what part of the country he's from?
Yeah, up there.
Up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up that way. I didn't know.
Yeah, no,
Texas guy or
Pacific Northwest.
I know you don't want to do this, but let me tell you how this offensive blow, because my second favorite Dolphin was Christian Wilkins this year on this current run, not all time. And, you know, it was just one of those where the Dolphins said we can't afford him. He was killer for us. He goes to the Raiders and does nothing this year. That did soften the blow a little bit. I know you don't want to pull against Cooper Kupp, But when you lose a player you really, really like and then they go somewhere and they don't perform as well as you thought they would, it does soften the blow just a bit.
Yeah, it's different in football than it is in baseball. Like my favorite baseball team, we're small.
This happens to y'all all the time.
We're a small market.
Yeah.
We fall in love with a kid. He's there 2 years and he's off
to the Red Sox or the Dodgers.
We've got Glasnow and we've got Snell.
Yeah, so it's just what it is in baseball for me. And in hockey, I don't really know anybody's names. I just wait till they're playing for a Stanley Cup and I cheer for them.
Pretend you liked them all
year.
year.
Turn it on occasionally, just for background noise. But for football, I mean, my favorite one was Derek Brooks, and I think he was a buck for life. And
he was.
My second one was Mike Evans, and I thought we were going to lose him this past year.
Yeah.
And they re-signed him, and he may actually, fingers crossed, be buck for life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen much anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. Aaron Donald was Ram for life. Even guys that I mentioned earlier, Eric Dickerson wasn't Ram for life. Isaac Bruce wasn't Ram for life. Marshall Faulk obviously wasn't.
Donald chose to do that. He could have played this year.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere else if he wanted to.
Well, full disclosure, I bought Maddie a Rams custom bone jersey year and a half, 2 years ago. It's Cooper Kupp.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the dangerous thing about getting these jerseys.
Just got to burn it now. I think that's the rule.
No.
Okay, Jim.
No.
I think that's the rule. When you leave a franchise, you got to burn it.
He's still going to be one of his favorites of all time.
I think if you're a big fan of a team, make sure if a rookie has a splash season, go on and get that jersey because you've at least got 4 years.
Yeah, they're going to be on that rookie deal for a minute.
All right. When that came across, a couple other notes. Green Bay is on the record for saying this. They want the tush push, whichever version of it is. They want it to be outlawed. They're going to be introduced in the offseason to find up a way to make that an illegal play. I do feel like at one point in my life you could not push a player forward.
Oh, I think you're right about that. I think it is a recent change that you're allowed to now that you couldn't. I know in college they just changed it back to where you could push a player forward.
Because it was supposedly illegal, I believe, when the Bush push, right, was supposed to be illegal.
Yeah, but we're getting pulls now,
which is still illegal. I think the pull
because
is
you look
still
back,
illegal.
James Cook, Buffalo, one of their playoff games. Who was it against?
He picked him up, didn't he?
But Deion Dawkins, offensive lineman, was pulling him with him.
I think that is illegal.
I said it was. I was screaming at TV. He picked him up and pulled him in.
Yeah, I think that's illegal.
Yeah,
I don't know how you
can't push them.
Then you just have to eliminate all pushes.
Yeah.
You can't just eliminate it in that one specific type. It's got to be you cannot push a runner, period.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it's not rugby. I mean, I don't sign up on Sundays to watch rugby. And to get them all scrummed up there and then push it forward for a yard. I mean, if it's 4th and 1, I want you to have to do something footballish to pick it up.
The only other way you could legislate it is in the formation, like only so many guys within a certain space of the line of scrimmage or the certain space of the quarterback.
So many people within the hash mark.
But I don't want to get that technical. We asked the referees to look for so much already.
Yeah,
that
every formation now I've got to line up and have 3 guys outside the hash marks.
Exactly. I mean, there's already so much you got to worry about. But if you didn't allow 2 big dudes right there next to Jalen Hurts, they couldn't run that same play.
Yeah.
Like if they had to line up where normal back lines up or outside the hash, then they couldn't run that. So that's another way you can legislate it. But there again,
and something does feel different about the way Josh Allen in Buffalo does it than the way Philadelphia does it. I don't know why, but something feels different about that.
Well, it feels like Josh Allen in Buffalo legitimately do it.
Yeah, I guess because
it
always feels like Josh goes left or right, and there's eventually somebody pushing him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel as rugby-ish. That's the only phrase I can.
And then there's my franchise. We don't even have a quarterback sneak.
Yep.
Nor should you.
I know. Yeah. I know. There's a reason we don't. We don't have one.
There was another team that brought in a tight end to run it, right? Green Bay? No, it was Washington, right?
Maybe.
Ertz does it?
Maybe. Miami has done that some. They'll send a tight end in motion, and then he'll take the snap and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have one.
By the way, Clark Hunt says Andy Reid will be back next year for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know why you wouldn't, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes.
He's one of those guys, Andy Reid. I don't know how you guys feel. It doesn't seem to age. Like the Andy Reid I look at now looks like the Andy Reid that was coaching in Philadelphia.
I agree.
He looked old then.
And he's been through a lot personally with his son and all that.
Yeah,
you would think it would have aged him some.
But not really old. He kind of just looks like set in stone 60 for his entire life.
That's right.
Yeah, like Morgan Freeman's been 80 his whole life.
Yeah. Your point is that Andy Reid, when he was 42, probably looked 60.
Yep.
And now that he's whatever age he is, he still looks 60.
60, yeah. He's finally 60 and looks 60.
Yeah, like if you ever have a weird dream about Andy Reid, you're going to, dream Andy Reid looks this age.
That's right. He is this age permanently in my mind. It's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, I have seen I think we've all seen the picture of Andy Reid as a kid.
Oh, yeah, doing the pump, pass, and kick.
In a Rams uniform.
Yeah. Massive, too.
Yeah, he was 12 and looked 18.
Yeah, bigger than anybody out there.
Yeah. By the way, Andy Reid with 3 Super Bowl championships. If he wins this one, he ties Chuck Noll second all time. He'll pass Bill Walsh and Joe Gibbs in Super Bowl wins, and it'd only be at that point Belichick with 6, Noll with 4, and Andy Reid with 4.
Dude, I mean,
Are you telling me he's 12 in that photo?
He's an adult in that photo. I think punt
22,
pass and
right? Look at 22 right behind
punt,
him.
pass, and kick, I think at that time was, from 6 to 12. I think. There's no way he was 12, though.
Well, hang on.
There's no way.
1971.
I'll pull up his year of birth.
1959. That's about right.
Andy Reid was born March 19 in 1958. He's 12 years.
He's 13
12
years
or
old.
13. Yeah.
Holy hell!
Probably had to be 12 before the start of football season.
Look at 22.
Hey, 22's looking straight at his ass crack.
Yeah. That is incredible. I mean, he looks 18 in that.
No,
picture.
if you would have said that's father son.
Yeah, I would have believed it.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantasy camp for the Los Angeles Rams. Look at that father-son, cute.
No, I mean he looks kind of like the 60-year-old Andy Reid there.
Yeah. He's always been. He's Wilford Brimley. I mean, Wilford Brimley was probably 75 his entire career.
Yeah.
There was never a movie where Wilford Brimley wasn't 75 years old. He played a bunch of them, and he was 75 in all of them.
There's no doubt that Mr. Reid pulled up to a service station in 1971 and said, "Andrew, run in there and get me a 6-pack of Budweiser."
They won't ask any questions.
They won't card you. Trust me.
I mean,
a pack of smokes, too.
Damn helmet's about to pop off.
That's all we got, son. You got to wear that one.
Fumblerooski. When we come back, we will do Trash, the show brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Make sure the food's ready to go on Super Sunday with our super friend Sterling. Right there, those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. Snack on those throughout the game. All the great sides. Don't forget the Mississippi mud pie and other made from scratch on-site desserts there. And the chicken is brined overnight. It's cooked to order. It's piping hot when it comes out. Sterling does it right. Chicken finger platter, do whatever you want. Champy'sChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the Next Round. Straight to trash here in just a second. Replay assistants in the NFL. They already do catches and spots and things like that to help the officials speed up the game. They're thinking about going to face mask. What's your thoughts?
So it's when you say replay assistants, that's when they'll buzz down and say,
"That's right." In this,
we've reviewed it. It's a face mask. You don't have to run over to the thing. And
in this instance, maybe not even a flag. They would buzz down. We had a face mask on that one. Because there was, I think it was a Rams-Vikings game. Was that a playoff game or the regular season game?
It was regular season.
Regular season.
Yeah, Jared Verse, obvious.
Yeah.
And the Rams at that point were up 7 or 8. They probably still win the game, but, at that point, Minnesota had to punt from their own end zone as opposed to getting a first down.
Yeah, that was the picture they used in the story.
Well, he pulls it, and Verse goes straight to his head like, oh, my gosh, I just got a 15-yard penalty when I didn't need it, and they didn't call it. I don't know how they didn't call that.
Yeah, and then there was one in the playoffs. I don't remember which game that they were talking about, but they were like,
probably
both of
Chiefs.
those, it would be just an assistant. And they're also considering roughing the passer.
Oh, that's
the one you need.
Before you go a face mask, you need to go roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
And that is the Chiefs, I think, up there.
Because
in that Texans game.
The NFL has told the officials, call it if you think it's roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Like they don't even call, like, if you see obvious roughing the passer, throw the flag. They're like, if you think it's roughing the passer, throw the flag.
And there's so many things that can be, like going in low, on the slide, like Mahomes one time when I don't think Tua even made contact with him. That's where replay assistants can
roughing
really
the passer would be the biggest change in the NFL if they could do that.
Dr. B brings you part of the show here. One more thing before trash here. Tell us about Dr. B.
Yeah, Dr. B, the absolute best in the business. If you're starting to thin out, you're losing that hair right now. It doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever the age is, you can maintain and even grow some back. I'm speaking from experience. I went to see Dr. B almost 3 years ago. Dr. B I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. They've got T3 with the new test that is so easy, painless, affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show you which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they can use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical form. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Dr. B has been using using this test for over 3 years with amazing results. Stop wasting your money and time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work. 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316. Tell them the Next Round sent you. For more information, t3hair.net.
All right. Looking forward to basketball tonight. But as we do every day at this time, we step aside and we do a little trash for you. You got something for me, Tyler?
Sandra, how far has this family come?
We came from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Almost draft night again.
It's so good.
That was Miss Congeniality. Have you guys ever seen it?
Oh, yeah, with Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gracie Freebush. But they asked that one girl, what's your idea of a perfect date? And she's like, I think it was like April 12th, because it's just cool enough you can wear a light jacket. Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. And speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call that Birmingham office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. I was talking to Taylor before the show, and I was reading this first trash story, and I was like, would you eat this? And she was like, actually, I would.
Okay.
Here we go.
Taylor's always got snacks.
This is the French onion dip Angus burger at participating Hardee's.
Nope.
They have teamed up with potato chip brand Ruffles. Now, it's available as a single or a double. The French onion dip burger features choice of 1 or 2 charbroiled 100% Angus beef patties, topped with melty Swiss cheese, sliced onions, tomatoes, crispy onions, creamy French onion dip, and crunchy Ruffles original potato chips.
Yep. The only part I don't like is the French onion dip. I like onions, but something about the French onion dip, and I'm sure I got sick on it sometime when I was a kid.
Look how much they put on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's like what I do with my mayonnaise.
Yeah. I don't mind the chips part. Some people would balk at that, but it looks like they even have French onion dip on the top.
I think they do, yeah. Too many chips.
Yeah.
My dad used to eat chips on a sandwich. Did your dad ever do that?
Yeah, we would occasionally put them on, a bologna sandwich or a ham and cheese sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly.
I had an ex-girlfriend that did it on every sandwich.
Really? Yeah. No, my dad didn't do it on every sandwich, just every now and then.
Now, this clocks in at 780 calories. The single French onion dip Angus burger, suggested price of $7.49. The double goes for $10.49. You can find the French onion dip burger participating Hardee's locations across just Tennessee for a limited time.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, only in Tennessee.
I just didn't. I never pictured Taylor as a big onion person. So she likes onions.
Boy, a lot of onions on that.
French
yeah.
onions.
She probably wasn't listening.
Okay. She was doing a graphic, listening to the different
Lance.
show.
Yeah,
I'd eat that. Yeah.
Where are you on French onion soup?
I don't like it.
It's okay.
I mean, it's like
you like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you really?
People that love it, they love it. I used to have a client that I would go to dinner with, and he would get it every time.
It tastes to me like if there was just a little bit more evaporation, it would just be a salt shaker.
So there was
basically salt.
There was a place at the Summit way back when that was famous for their French onion soup because you've got the tavern.
Yep.
The Village Tavern. This was the tavern, which used to be up top. And they would bring it. It looked so good when they would bring it to the table that I ordered it once, and I'm like, this tastes like dishwater.
Yeah,
I hate this.
To me, if you just sprayed a little Tropicana coconut tanning spray on the top of it, it would taste like the Gulf of America to me. It's that salty.
Are we going with that on the show, Gulf of America?
It's official.
It's official, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know. I'm just asking. Now, I never called it the Gulf of Mexico. I just called it the Gulf.
Yeah.
So this, if I add the of,
people are going to know what you're talking about.
I mean,
he signed
we
it.
did that, right?
Okay,
So
that's fine. It's Gulf of America.
It's happening.
All right.
By the way, I think I nailed the signature.
He takes a lot longer.
7-Eleven customer used a banana to batter a store clerk, according to Florida police. Called Tivia Turner, 22 years old.
Honest to goodness, if you Photoshop some snakes instead of the hair there, spot on.
Yep.
Well, I mean, is that a receding hairline, too?
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. And is that a cat on the...
Also don't know what's going on there.
So, anyway, she got into
I
a
bet
quote.
that cat's crying over spilled milk.
Verbal altercation with a 30-year-old female worker, and the women exchanged, quote, derogatory comments towards each other, according to the police report. At one point, Turner, quote, became irate, picked up a banana from the cashier counter, threw the banana at the victim's face. The airborne fruit struck the employee on the cheekbone and left a minor abrasion. Come on, a banana can't cut you.
No,
I guess
minor
that
abrasion.
little back part.
Yeah, it'd have to hit you perfect.
The stem could.
Yeah.
The banana was not seized as evidence. Seen right there. Turner was arrested Thursday for battery, booked into county jail. Turner is being held without bond for violating probation in connection with a grand theft conviction in a neighboring county. Now, Turner has previously been cited for failing a pretrial intervention program as well as not performing her 75 hours of community service or paying court fees.
I've never seen anybody with their trash pickup suit on before and then have a sort of trying to show the cleavage. I've never seen anyone pulling it down that much before.
Yeah, it's pulled over on one side.
Yeah.
Is that a piercing right there on by the left
It
eye?
is.
Oh,
It
yeah, it
is.
looks like
Yeah.
she's got one of those, like, I forget what they call them, but they're like just like on the skin.
How's
I think
that work?
Dermals.
So they just hammer it so far in there it can't come out?
Yeah, they take a clamp and they pinch your skin up and then they shove it through.
Okay. Yeah.
So a man arrested for manslaughter after allegedly smoking marijuana with a friend and shooting him after the friend said he could, quote, dodge a bullet.
I can.
Oh, no.
Test me.
Ashton man, 23 years old, arrested just after 4 a.m. on Sunday, February 2nd on one count of second-degree felony manslaughter, one third-degree felony charge related to firearms. Now, according to the affidavit of probable cause, officials with police responded to a home in Kearns, Utah. After receiving reports that a man was shot in the chest, officials found the victim unresponsive on the floor, took him to a local hospital. Unfortunately, he died.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
Now, in an interview with detectives after he was read his Miranda rights, man reportedly told officials he and his friend had smoked marijuana around 8 p.m. or were talking about guns in the kitchen. Man and his friend later went into a detached garage to continue their conversation. They were reportedly handling two different handguns when the victim said, "Hey, man, I can dodge a bullet."
Oh.
Yeah.
Man told officials he and his friend unloaded each gun before he pointed a firearm at the victim and pulled the trigger, with his friend trying to, quote, jump out of the way to prove he could move before the trigger was pulled.
You didn't dodge it, Ernie.
Man told officials they repeated that about 6 times. Man said the final time the gun fired, striking the victim in the chest.
Oh.
Man said the victim asked him to call 911 because he had been shot.
What?
Man reportedly rendered aid to his friend until first responders arrived at the scene.
Oh. This is one level of dumbness up from, remember the old videos when guys would try to break the Guinness Book of World Records of trying to catch the cannonball
Oh,
in the
yeah.
stomach
And you
and
see
stuff?
his fat rolls going
Yeah.
down. He'd fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
Weird story to end here, Trash. How far would you go to achieve your ideal look? Now, for Emily James here, 27-year-old influencer from Kansas City, the answer lies
What? No,
in
I've
a
heard of this.
jaw-dropping decision that has taken social media by storm. Emily spent $17,000 on elective surgery to remove 6 ribs for a slimmer waist.
We know, well, we kind of know somebody that did this.
Okay, one.
Do you remember?
No.
One
Yep.
bottom rib on each side. Okay.
Well, it's not
You know
even just
someone
getting them
that had their
removed.
Ribs removed?
Yeah, we know somebody that had 1 or 2 ribs on each side removed so that their waist would be a little bit slimmer and their backside would be more accentuated.
Okay, so this wasn't like a Marilyn Manson situation.
What's the mirror? No. Like,
Okay,
what do you mean by
okay.
that? What did Marilyn Manson do?
Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, we got 2 never minds back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think that's like the Richard Gere gerbil. I don't
it's not
believe.
a true story, but
Oh.
He removed a rib where he could be a little more flexible.
No, this was a female.
Okay.
And I don't know if flexibility was her main goal. I think it was the look. Yeah.
Do we? So we know her.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have to explain this one after the show.
So it's
I
not
was
actually
expecting this.
that she got the elective surgery and spent $17,000. It's what she wants to do with the bones.
She wants to make a necklace.
Emily revealed, quote, "I'm planning on having someone make a crown out of these."
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Originally considering gifting the ribs to her best friend, she decided the crown would be a better way to commemorate the procedure. Emily documented her experience on social media, sharing updates from the surgery to the recovery process while the procedure required her to wear a corset. continuously during recovery. She credited her doctors for managing the pain, described it as only a 2 out of 10. Now, the decision to turn her ribs into a crown has sparked mixed reactions online. Some followers made light of her choice, suggesting the ribs be turned into chew toys or broth.
God, they look awful.
However, she did draw a firm line. Quote, eating human meat can cause fatal disorders. While some other critics questioned her decision, she fired back confidently. Quote, it's my body, it's my money, I'm going to do with it what I want.
Indeed, it is both.
I know some of your moms walk around with Brazilian butt lifts. How is this any different?
Well,
yeah. I don't know.
Those people got stuff added.
That is true.
Something taken out.
That is true. Both those things are true.
Yeah. Bless her heart.
You know, look, I am for as much personal freedom as we could possibly have. So sometimes with that just comes stuff that I have to scratch my head and say, I don't know why you did it.
I really don't care if you remove your own ribs.
Yeah, I don't know. How does this hurt me that she removed 6 ribs? Is that going to affect me in any way?
I mean, I think there's a better use of $17,000 out there.
Don't disagree with you, but it's her $17,000 and her 6 ribs.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or seasoned home buying veteran, with their great service and low rates, it makes the process so easy. So remember, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, whether you're looking for your final home or first home, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Tyler, you're going to have to take that down.
Yeah,
the
please
ribs
do.
are bothering me. I don't know why, but knowing that those are her ribs, I cannot keep looking at that.
Meat
You
cleaned
don't like
off.
spare ribs?
Yeah.
Not human.
Final thought here. Pretty serious with the 3 Alabama fans I've talked to about this. Have you guys had an Alabama fan yet express any displeasure with having their season tickets taken away yet?
I have not heard this, no.
I want to do some research on this before we jump into it too much. But from what I get from them, and it's just their side of the story, that they had their season tickets taken away because they were selling them on secondary markets all the time. They were season ticket holders, and they never went to the game.
So they bought them and sold them all.
Bought them and sold them.
So I guess the only way you would manage this, if you are Alabama, is, I mean, you're keeping up with it in stadium. Who's sitting in these seats?
They're all electronic tickets now, so they see the
now.
Transfer, I would imagine, Lance. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They see the transfer. Yeah, it's easier to track now than it ever has been.
So, I mean, if you're a secondary market, you got your season tickets, and there have been fans, at least the ones I've talked to, who have had tickets taken away. That you pay your license fee, whatever it is, your donation, and you've got your season tickets, and you just don't go to the games, and I think you got a warning, and now you've had your tickets taken away. And I know we got a Bama and Bourbon Cup coming up. And Aaron does some work for Yay, Alabama.
I'll ask about the tickets.
No, but
I mean, I got no problem asking
it's your
about
business idea here.
Oh, Jim's going to try to turn it into money for Alabama.
Okay, look. So I've taken Lance's. Let's say Lance has 8 season tickets. I've taken Lance's 8 season tickets back. Brown was a violator too. I've taken Brown's 8 season tickets back. Instead of selling those 16 tickets to the next people in line for season tickets, what if I, as Yay Alabama and or the University of Alabama, I now sell those on the secondary market?
Because you've got nothing invested in them. It's straight profit for you.
Right.
As long as you
and all that money comes back to the collective.
As long as it exceeds what you would get from a season ticket holder, it makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, I don't know what a season ticket costs, but whatever a season ticket costs, obviously these people are selling them for more. It's the supply and demand. They're selling them for more on the open market, and Alabama's upset about that. So I'm taking your season tickets away. So instead of me going to the next person in line on the waiting list for season tickets, if I'm Alabama, why do I not just sell my tickets on the open market?
I'll tell you what sucks.
Pricing.
I think there's 2 different types of fans out there. I think there are the fans that take a LSU Alabama game and they're like, okay, I can sell that one and I can pay for my entire season ticket package. I think there's also a lot of people that, if you're in that demographic, that tax bracket where you can afford season tickets, there's a lot of people that are just like, I'm not going to use them, let a friend use them. And the unfortunate thing is if you're one of those and you're just letting somebody use the tickets where they don't go to waste and you're losing your season tickets,
but I tell you,
that's tough to stomach.
If I've been on the Tide Pride, is it still Tide Pride? Is that what they call it?
I think that's what
Crimson
they call
Tradition,
it.
Whatever it is now.
Yeah.
If I've been on that wait list for any amount of time, and I find out you had tickets come open and you're selling them on the secondary market, I'm going to be super pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I've been on the wait list, and now you finally got tickets for me, but you're selling them on the secondary market. So
I'm just saying we're looking for new ways to do money.
I know what you're saying, but if I'm Alabama or Auburn or anyone, I'd be extremely careful because I got people on the wait list.
Yeah.
The only way you do this is if you have people on the wait list. You're not going to take away anybody's season ticket if nobody's waiting to buy them.
You see what I'm saying, though? Like the Georgia game or the Texas game 2 years ago. I mean, even in basketball, you start doing this in basketball, but like Auburn's coming to town on February 15th in basketball. There'll be a lot of Auburn fans inside Coleman Coliseum.
No doubt.
You know why? Because Alabama fans will take that ticket that they've got and they'll put it on the secondary market, and Auburn fans will overpay because they love their team, but it's easier to drive to Tuscaloosa than it is to Auburn.
Easier to get in Coleman than it is Neville.
And they will overpay, and a lot of Alabama fans will sell it. And I'm sure Alabama fans are trying now to don't sell your tickets to Auburn fans. You know, let's have a home court advantage on February 15th. When Texas came to town for that big game, and Saban was still the coach there, you asked EG, there were a lot of Texas fans in season ticket areas, not just in the upper edge. They were all over the lower bowl.
Landmine Believer touches on what you're talking about there. He says for years, a lot of people bought basketball tickets to get better football levels.
Tickets, yes.
You know, the more you buy in other sports, the better level you get in football. And now they're not using the basketball tickets. So they're putting those on the market, which opens the door for Auburn fans to buy them.
I don't know where I am on this.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I can see it being a great moneymaker for Greg Byrne. And
it's your money. Like, this is what the price was. You bought them, and if you want to sell them for more.
Yeah.
But if you're just buying them strictly for resale, and I've got people on the waiting list, I can also see saying, you're not using them, I got somebody that'll use them. I'm trying to get as much crimps into my stadium as possible.
It is a needle to thread right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. We'll try to get more details on what's going on. If you've been impacted, let us know. And but on the flip side of that, if I got some extra tickets like that and I'm Alabama, why don't I sell them? TideGeek.com.
TideGeek.com.
Feel free to use that if you want to. We're back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. New Bama and Bourbon out today. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.